Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to episode 12 of City of Light and Shadow, a Fate French Resistance campaign. And it is lovely to have you all here. I'm very excited. Let me do the top of the stream stuff first. Thank you for being here. I want to say hey to all the people who are watching live. Also, the people who are over on YouTube. Thank you for watching us there. Thank you for bringing the stream, which is about World War II. It's occupied Paris and people sort of fighting Nazis, and who knows what else? Who knows what else they're fighting? They're fighting lots of things. And this is our third season. We have an archive over on YouTube if you want to watch it, and it's full of really amazing players and a lot of great stories so far, and amazing audience members. And to do this, I think it's really important to make sure that you pay your cast and also your graphic designer and your composer and all of that. And so if you would like to support us, there are many ways to do it. And the number one thing you can do is be here and watch the show, either live or Memorex, on YouTube or VODs, whatever you like. You could retweet to let people know that we are live. You can tell your friends. You can send out Morse code if you know Morse code over a wireless radio, but don't get caught. Although I think it's fine. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. It's okay. You can, if you would like, you can give tips and bits, and that goes to pay the cast. You can join our Patreon, which is at Academic Foxhole, which also goes to pay for the cast. And you can, if you give tips or bits, we will read off your message during our break, like our half point. Also, we have channel points, which we call extra credit because this is the Academic Foxhole. And because I am cruel and unkind, I allow the players at this moment to get only 2. But their cell is getting better. Their cell is recuperating, and so I think they'll be able to get more Fate points from you all soon, support from London. And we did get 2, one from BP Phantom and one from Will Wari. Thank you, Will Wari, and also BP Phantom. Let me go and give those points over to our players so that they have them and are not so freaked out, because who likes being freaked out? Nobody. I like it when they're freaked out, but that's a different thing altogether. So thank you. Let me see. Is there anything else in the... do the tips and bits go to pay the cats? Asked time of gifts. I think it depends on the player. My understanding is that with Laugh Love Lindy, the tips and bits don't go to help pay the cats, but go to pay for character art. Because my understanding from having known... I do have an
addiction. I do have a problem.
That you have an addiction.
Look at his little face.
Look at your face.
Look at the little face.
My understanding is that Laugh Love Lindy has an addiction to character art, commissioning art from artists. And, it happens.
I do. But she does get lots of treats. She's currently on a diet. Oh. But she gets lots of love and affection and attention, so... She got too many treats, and now she's a little chunky.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Look, I think I did all the top of the morning stuff. I want to introduce our characters and our players, because our players are wonderful, and I love them. And so I would like... Did I write down what my question was? I don't know if I did. So I would love, if you wouldn't mind, for you to tell me who you are. This is one of our 2-player episodes, our duo episodes. This is our last duo episode of the season. After this, we have 4 more episodes, and then we're done for the season. But we may well be we may be coming back for season 4. I'm going to have to ask the cast, I also have to ask the cast, not all of them, but just one particular one, what mustache wax he uses. Lindy, I'm asking you.
I'm failing miserably at this right now because it's not staying up.
I do have a magnificent mustache. So
I honestly would just go with that option because it just seems magnificent and easier to maintain. Because I'm literally just using like one of those hair gels because I don't have a mustache wax.
Okay,
anymore.
So offline, you're going to have to give me your address for multiple reasons, and I'm going to send
Trooper's about to change your mustache life.
I'm going to send you my favorite mustache wax, just so you know. But also, side note, if you're having a hard time, once you get your mustache wax in there, if you're getting side note, everyone, you have to see this. If you're having a hard time getting it to set, Little Red Dot bought me a present, and it's this. It's a little tiny mustache dryer, so that you can and it's USB powered, so that once you put your wax in, you can use it to set your mustache. And I'm just gonna say,
I have like a multi-USB little dongle thing that I could just
I'm just saying.
Okay. Because I have like these little frayed ends that just bug the shit out of me. And
look, I'm going to send you mustache wax. That's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Because I have to give you a care package anyway. So, if you could tell us who you are, tell us who you're playing, and then I think the question I would like to ask for you all would be, I wonder if Dot remember the question I asked you last time. I always write these things down.
I'm pretty sure the question was how much do you love Greg and why? Because it was his birthday.
Oh, that might have been it. That could have been it because it was his birthday. But I think
the answer is I love Greg the most, but I wasn't playing last week, so I couldn't, challenge y'all's claims.
You're right. That was the reason. That was the question. But I will ask you a different question. I think the question I will ask you both is: could you tell me your character's first fancy party? How old were they, and what was it? Like, tell me something about your character's first fancy party. So, I would like to start with Lindy, who does not love Greg as much as I love Greg.
Those are fighting words.
I've had so many more years to love Greg. Yeah. I think like the quantity of my love and the immense. Technically, he's like my dad. I mean, he adopted me informally, so I don't.
Not to mention her handle itself has laugh, love, Lindy. So, I mean.
Okay.
That's also true. Also, I have a bunch of selfies with Greg. Do you have any selfies?
But they were photoshopped? So
they're not. No, they're really not.
They totally
are. You can see his shadow looming over me.
But who are you? And who are you playing? And tell us about your character's first fancy party. Tell us something about it.
All right. Hi, yes. I'm Lindy, and I love Greg the most. I also am Laugh Love Lindy on the internet. This is Tesla. She's a very good cat. And she very frequently makes appearances because she lives on my lap. And I'll be playing Evelyn Garnier, who is definitely not famous opera singer Frieda Engel, the, Berlin's Nightingale or anything like that. That would be crazy. And her first fancy party, I'd like to say was, probably after she got into the theater scene, because she did not grow up attending anything fancy. That wasn't her lifestyle for a very long time. No. I think it was when she had started to hit it off really well with her mentor, who kind of taught her opera, who took her to one of the fancy social get-togethers, in the scene at the time, and that's where she met another opera singer named Angelo Valentino, and that's where they really hit it off. Was at this fancy party.
I believe Angelo Valentino, you have put out the word to try to find out where he is.
I have, yes.
And our man Falstaff, who's never met a British Empire he didn't like, is looking for you. Well, he's not looking for you. He's looking,
yes,
to find this thing for you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And did you? I assume you enjoyed the party.
Oh, she had a smashing time at that first party because, there was a bar, an open bar, shrimp cocktail. There was fancy food and fancy drinks and fancy people and a couple of really hot people. It was a great time. She was probably 20, 21.
Were you self-conscious?
She probably was until she was enough glasses of wine in.
I see.
And then she stopped being self-conscious.
That is fair. Okay, KP, who are you? Who are you playing? And then tell us about your character's first fancy party and how they felt about it. Tell us about this.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is KP. I also go by KP11 Studios on all the socials out there. And I play Dr. Preetam Singh, or as also known as Prince Preetam Singh, of the princely state of, I think, wasn't it Uruguay that I put the name down? Why am I blanking the name of the kingdom I'm from?
I can't believe you forgot your kingdom. That's just...
it goes to show how much he actually cares, because neither does Preetam care about his title as a prince. He is the third in line of succession, so therefore it's not like he's going to actually be in charge of anything, and he actually despises the entire role as a prince. Even though he has a very loving family, he just finds it absolutely boring. And this probably stems from his very first fancy party experience. And considering he is a prince, he has been through many boring fancy experiment, and it probably goes back further back than what he can actually remember. But I would say that his first experience would probably be when he was or one he can remember is when he was quite young, probably 5 or 6 years old. Him being carried around by his mother, being shown off to all the guests, and nowhere in sight finding anybody of his age attending said party. And just so many formalities, so many just boring stuff. He would rather be up in his room just playing with his toys, and here he is in a very austere government run, kingdom run party. Yeah, and having older brothers who teased him and probably just annoyed the shit out of him while he was there. So not a lot of great experiences. So the moment he was able to leave and go off to Oxford to pursue his medical degree, he couldn't have left that place sooner.
I just have to say, for the record, I have been to parties. They weren't necessarily fancy, where I was the only person who was my age, and like my age was like 4 or 5, and I was not very excited. I've been to those parties, and it's just like all adults talking boring things, and yeah, those are not the best parties. Is all I'm saying. And I'm troopersjp, and I am your GM for today. And let us see. Let us begin to think about where we're at. This is, let's say, part 2 of a party extravaganza, and we have. Ooh, those names are not showing up. I'll have to make that. I'll have to fix that. That's fine. So we have. This is Friday, December the 12th, 1941, and our players have all infiltrated a party, and this party is at the chateau of a woman who's a comtesse, a countess, Lisette Roland, and it is her family's, although they're suspiciously missing. It is her family's chateau, and she is basically being kept as a hostage in this house, where her job is to be the hostess for all these parties. And this is a place where it's a little bit right outside of Paris, and so the security is pretty good. And it's a place where all of these sort of important parties are happening for visiting Nazi officials. But it's one of these places where they want to have... these are usually parties where they want to have civilians there to sort of show that there's a good friendship between the French and the Germans, and right, so like good relations. And so this particular party is one where the brand new head of the Gestapo in Paris is being welcomed. A man named Elias Jaeger and his wife, Nicoletta Jaeger, born Fuchs, and they are being welcomed in. And at this party, it's this beautiful house, right? If you can imagine this large, it's like an aristocratic mansion is what it is, right? With these large grounds, you can imagine this sort of large house. It's got like 3 floors. You've got in the back of the ground, you have like a hedge maze, but of course it's winter, so it's all sort of miserable. There's like servants. There's like a servant's house out back, which would have been at one point a carriage house, which is where she's staying. A huge ballroom off the sides. You've got conservatories. You've got, smoking rooms, libraries, like you've got a big, huge kitchen. You've got this massive place. And I know that Little Red Dot is in the chat right now, and I forgot to tell her, but I'm just going to mention that there is an aspect, which is that there's a gun in the conservatory, because our Little Red Dot took off her gun and hid it under some couch cushions. And when she described leaving said room, she left first, and she did not describe picking up that gun. So the gun is still in the conservatory in case our heroes need it, just in case. That might happen.
We would have to know about it first.
You'd have to know about it first. So at this...
And know how to, like, shoot a gun or whatever, maybe.
Oh, no.
And know how to shoot a gun.
What's there to a gun? Just point and pull the trigger. That's all, right?
Yeah, that's what she's seen people do. I'm sure it's that easy.
Yeah.
Who cares about recoil?
or anything. It's fine. And let me see. I want to make sure I've got this here. I think that's good. So that's what I want. So in this party, as you have recognized it, has a lot of important people. Some of them some of them some of you don't. Many of you are not have not been here long, so you don't necessarily know what the scene is like. But there are clearly French civilians in suits. There are people in military uniforms. The military uniforms are mostly SS uniforms. There's one or two German military uniforms, but not many. It's mostly just SS and a bunch of civilians. Some of them are French. Some of them are
husband's
German.
in his military uniform, isn't he?
He is in his military uniform.
He would be.
He would be. He is. And you're like, why are you? Okay, well.
It's fine.
Great.
Makes him easy to spot.
It does. That is true. Okay, good. All of that is now fixed. And let's see. When you walked in, you have, at this moment, in terms of people and this space for you to think about, to sort of set the scene for you, you have your team members, Regina and Oscar in disguise, at this party schmoozing. You're seeing them sort of chatting with people. They're sort of doing their thing as a fake couple. You also have Luke, who's a young man who's 17 now. He's very old. Who is basically, he's been here as part of the flowers, right? So it's part of the sort of setup with Frieda, who's disguising herself as Evelyn Garnier, boutique flower shop owner. And Evelyn Garnier came in, set up all the flowers, along with Luke, who was like loading things, and was about to leave. But the party planner for this event noticed that she was efficient and good at her job. And
curse my German efficiency.
It was like, I need you to stay here. Probably because Lisette is a little bit morose, and he needs somebody who can do greetings, he just needs a little bit of help. And so you have been waylaid, as it were, to doing work, mostly checking guest lists, announcing people, bringing people to... You have a clipboard, bringing people to places. In this time period, you've also gotten to know the people who are working there a little bit. Mm-hmm. You've not yet asked me any questions about the people who are working this event. Maybe you can. We'll think about it. But like, you kind of get a sense of who they are. And the prince, Prince Preetam Singh, was set up by the SOE. The SOE had him, he didn't do it, but had letters written under his name, published in Italian newspapers decrying British imperialism and sort of saying that, the Axis might be helpful in getting sort of freedom for India, and then was sent over into Paris, where he was invited to this party because some people are interested in the things that he's had to say. Specifically, he's been grabbed by a man named Jean Lucher, or Lucher, we'll say Lucher. It's like, it's two C's. Like, you could probably say it either way. My French. We'll say Lucher. Jean Lucher, who is an important journalist in occupied France. He's basically the head of the press. He's the head of the Parisian press. And he is in with the French collaborationist government. He's clearly in with the German government. And he had read Preetam's writings, and he was very excited to sort of get to know him. His daughter is also at this party, Corinne Lucher, who was a famous actress, but then retired. She's also only 21, and she maybe wants to get back into this movie business that Oscar is running, and there's a little bit of tension there. And also at this party, as a surprise present, I don't know why Lindy's making that face, is her husband, Willian is French and does not know how to pronounce this name either. But her husband has burst into the party in his uniform. Her husband is not stationed in France. He is stationed in Berlin. He should not even be here. No, he should not be. But he's looking for her. He came in, went to look at the clipboard, and did not see her name there, so then he got mad, and now he's sort of stalking this party, waiting for his wife, who ran away from him in an explosion after a bombing and stole some stuff.
Who would do that?
I don't even know. He's waiting for her to arrive. And as we pick up where we left off, let me get some nice dinner party. Here we go. Elegant dinner party. Here we go. As we leave off, we have this sort of crowd of people. And I do want to say that at the moment, you have presence from the other half of the group. You have the Golden Boy Shines and Wingman Regina. Our good old Oscar is going to be making a spectacle of himself a little bit during the evening, which will be a little bit distracting. And Regina will, at any time you need her, will walk on by and be like, I co-sign that. She will do a drive-by cosign if you need support. But Oscar also wanted to gift you a free invoke on Influence with Corrine. He has made her feel really good about herself. She's feeling really good right now, so she's in a very good mood. So you can use that. And also, Preetam set up that he's the switchboard operator. So he can go and he has like a bit of a bonus for sort of making sure communication works well between everybody. So as you're at this party, you notice that Oscar and Regina are talking to Elias and also to Nicoletta. Nicoletta and Oscar are the guests of honor at this party. Everyone should be paying attention to them. They should be making the rounds. But they sort of made a beeline to your comrades, and they're having sort of slightly weirdly intense conversations. Not in a corner, but like not in the middle of the room, just sort of like on the side. And there are people sort of hovering, maybe wanting to talk to them, maybe not, sort of moving in and out, because clearly their time is being taken up. And we have husband stalking the ballroom. We have beautiful art lining the walls, like gorgeous sort of portraits and paintings lining the walls. Sort of amazing sort of works. You have people milling about, and you have Jean Lucher, who is sort of chatting with you, wanting to sort of try to have this conversation with you about the evils of British colonialism. You know, other colonialism might be fine, like French colonialism, but, you know, British colonialism is the worst. French colonialism, we can just talk about that later, he thinks. What? And...
I think Preetam tried to like convince him that why follow such a shitty example of a civilization as the British.
Oh yeah,
and do what they do.
And he's into it because which might mean allowing his being less disapproving of his daughter working again, and he's meditating on that. And Frieda is wearing a dress that belongs to Lisette.
Yep.
Is at this party and sort of getting an overview of all of the things that are happening. And so I would like to ask with a beginning, in this moment where things are still sort of, we're in a bit of a kind of a, people are talking everywhere. There's lots of crowds of people talking in different spaces. I'm going to ask Frieda first. What would you like to do?
Not be seen by my husband.
Interesting.
Just nice and laying low. Just, she's doing her co-hostess duties. Paying attention. Listening, because that's important. And just, he's on one side of the room. She moves to the other side to check on the people there, or the plants or flowers. Or, assist, offer someone a napkin, or, that kind of thing. She's, yeah.
I feel like you should give me an awareness.
An awareness. Okie dokie. I will attempt to do so.
Difficulty 3.
Oh, well, that's not 3.
Would you like to succeed at a major cost? Or you can spend fate points, but you need to beat a 3. Or you could just fail. It's up to you.
Yeah, I need to get a 4, wouldn't I?
Yes, you would.
I need to. Yeah, I can't just tie.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this might be an important awareness check right off the bat.
It's up to you. I mean, I'm not judging you.
Yeah, because I rolled really bad on my other awareness that I rolled earlier as well. So I feel like I should. I'm gonna spend a fate point.
That'll get you to a 3.
That'll get me to a 3.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, Rissa, will you make KP a regular, please? Thank you.
Oops.
So that you can put symbols and all that.
Yeah.
All I put was dots.
No, I know. It's just Nightbot's so nervous.
You have a very nervous bot.
I know.
But I'd rather. That's a good bot.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I could try to re-roll, but I could roll a lot worse because I only have a +2, so I don't feel like I should do that necessarily.
It's up to you. I'm just saying that there might be things happening in this part that maybe you're not even noticing right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know what to say. Just
so.
I mean, you could just, you could fail to cost.
I could just fail.
But
I could just fail.
Or you could just fail. You could succeed at a cost, or you could just fail.
Because I feel like succeeding at a cost would be that somebody sees me. I don't know.
Could be.
Just a weird, weird suspicion
Yeah.
I have. But I guess that could also be failure.
No, this is.
I'd have to spend 2 fate points.
You would. Are you going to take the fail?
No, I'm gonna spend 2 fate points, Trooper.
What are the aspects that will allow you to notice this?
I'm going to spend a jealous, controlling husband because I'm keeping tabs on him for one of them, and then the other one is subtle social manipulator because I am making sure everyone's happy and pleasant and present and just listening because you have to listen to things to be able to manipulate them to your advantage.
Okay.
You have to know what's going on before you can change and affect what's going on.
This is fair.
Oof.
You spent them both?
Okay. Yeah, I did.
All right, then.
Take them out of this thing.
Please do. You are doing a very good job of maneuvering your stealth to a position where he is not noticing you at the moment. And in this process, you're doing a lot of work with the people who are working here, like the caterers, right? There's
Yes.
Got a bunch of caterers who are like bringing in, food back and forth, which is fine. And as you are, you're like dipping into the kitchen a little bit, right? You're sort of over there in the kitchen, then you're sort of back out, then you're sort of pulled back up to the front. So you're around this room quite a lot. You're around the whole space. You're getting a very good sense of the space of this. But you also have a very good sense of, you're getting like over time. It's, when you're paying attention to where your husband is at all times. And you're,
yes, very acutely aware.
Right,
yes.
For example, and you're just making sure everything is fine, but you're sort of focusing over here. When in that moment, when you can
It's like when you're like, if you're trying to, be an assistant teacher in an art class, but there is like a bear in the room, and this bear is just woken up out of hibernation and is not very happy. So that's... Freida's very used to that scenario.
And in this environment, there are so many sounds in this environment. You hear the sounds of... There are no speeches right now, but they're the sounds of people talking. It's the whole din, right, of all of these voices everywhere. You've got clearly a lot of sort of dignitaries and important people here, all sorts of conversations. You can kind of get the sense of, when you're at one of these sort of dinner party, everybody's networking, everyone's talking and bragging, and somebody's laughing over there, they're laughing over here. And you can hear the sound of a string quartet in the corner that's playing Schubert, some Beethoven string quartets. You've got some nice German classical music happening in the corner.
She's not humming along.
No. And it's funny because... You're a linguist.
She is. She's a cunning linguist.
You are a cunning linguist. And, just all the sounds of people's voices and their dialects and their accents sort of like come to you as you move throughout the room. You hear somebody speaking there, and you're thinking, oh, they're probably from this place, and oh, that person's probably from there, right? You're kind of getting just a sense of, oh, that person's a Berliner, like, oh, that person's Bavarian, oh, that person is like from Hamburg. Like, you're just kind of getting a sense of just people's dialects, where they're from, and as you're sort of moving in and around the kitchen, you're hearing the voices of all these sort of French people. And you are a cunning linguist, so you have a good sense of accents and dialects, even in French. And you're like, oh, that person's probably Parisian, right? Oh, that person's actually probably from Marseille. It's probably like little things, you know what I mean? That sort of like just, you're just very aware of.
Makes notes, because it's something you can bring up later in a conversation should you need to manipulate things.
Yeah, for example, like these are things you notice. You notice like, it looks like there's some people who are neither French nor German. You've got some people you probably have like, oh, I think there's maybe like, oh, there's probably somebody over there who's Italian. They're like, you just like, just different things. And as you're in the kitchen, you hear someone speaking French. A woman. And it's like a snatch of a conversation right as you're walking out of the kitchen, like back into the ballroom. You hear a snatch of a conversation where somebody sort of says, they don't yell, but they say harshly. You know that kind of a stage whisper where if they could, yes, they would yell. You hear somebody say,
yes,
snap out of it, get your head in the game, right? And it's you hear an older French woman's voice saying, snap out of it, get your head in the game, like, stop daydreaming. And she sounds to you probably like a working class Parisian woman. And the woman, you hear another woman speak back to her and say, oh, I'm so sorry, forgive me, I just I dropped something. And she sounds to you like a Parisian French woman, younger probably. You kind of just catch her out of the corner of your eye, except that as you're walking out, you're like, no, she is not French. The accent's a little wrong. And it's very subtle, right? She's pretty good. Her French is pretty good. You imagine that most people probably would not pick up on it. Maybe native speakers who are paying attention might pick up on it, but you could swear she's from Berlin. You could swear she's German.
Interesting.
It's just like a little thing with like the way, like one of the little vowel things just kind of gives it away.
It's the vowels. It's how they get you. So.
And you're like, oh, I think there's a German in here who's pretending to be French in the kitchen, is what you
probably a Nazi spy. Keep an eye on them.
You notice as you just kind of catch her out of the corner of your eye. She's young.
Yeah, just makes a note of it.
And if you want to know what she looks like, because when I got that going on for you all, where's my party guests? Here we go. There you go. This is her. Right over here.
Elsa.
Yeah, Elsa Bamberger, but you do not know her name.
No.
And if you ask, she won't say it's Elsa. She'll probably say it's Marie.
It's okay, my name's Evelyn. We're cool, we're fine.
Cool. And you just sort of catch this and, her getting chewed out for not paying attention to her job. And of course, the other thing you notice is that as you're sort of moving through, you do notice that
she's listening for Parisian descent. Of course, she's not going to be totally attentive to her job.
You notice that there are some gaps. There's a reason probably why you got roped in, because there's not a lot of staff necessarily here.
Yeah. Did you ever get the name of that guy who's the party planner for this event?
No.
Okay, that's fine.
But I will give you his name. I'm going to make it up. I'm going to have to retcon it, though. I'm going to have to give you a name now.
Okay.
But then I might have to give you a new name.
Because she would have gotten his name,
yeah,
Captain.
Hello, Raiders. Welcome in. Welcome in, Raiders. This would be because his name is in season 1, like episode 3 or 4. Hello. He's going to be Adolf, because who doesn't like a good Adolf?
Yeah.
You're like... I can think of some people. Stockmann.
I can think of Stockmann.
Yeah. Adolf Stockmann. And when you notice that there are guards with guns. There are quite a few guards with guns sort of about because there are a lot of dignitaries here. And when it comes to the staff, the kitchen staff, you have like a good amount of cooks, but when it comes to people who are helping and moving things, you would say probably they're understaffed by maybe 1 or 2, but also clearly at least that woman who's being yelled at is not doing her job very well. So even if
she's probably not a server, if I had to take a guess.
I don't know. That's wild. But they're like the hors d'oeuvres are not coming out as fast enough, right? Like not everything is being refreshed when it should be, which is probably why the young lad Luke has also been sort of roped in to doing work now as a server as well. And your party planner, Adolf Stockmann, is kind of freaking out because...
Gosh, you planned this party.
Well...
She's judging him. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he did not want it to look like this, but sometimes it's bad. And you can't always get the people that you need by forcing people into labor.
Maybe he's trying being nice. I don't know. Weird. Whatever.
Prince, you were sitting there with Jean-Luc Cher, which actually, and I got a picture of him for you all because I thought you might enjoy to see what he looks like.
Jean-Luc Cher.
That is him during the Nuremberg trials, you know, because he was arrested.
Oh, Jean.
Oh, Jean, what were you doing?
What are you thinking?
What were you thinking? And, so he's there sort of chatting with you. And he's clearly angling for something. He wants something from you, clearly. Trying to suss you out, as it were. And he says to you, well, you have only been here for how long?
Oh, it's been a couple of days, I would say. It's been just recently arrived. I'm still trying to get the lay of the land.
I hope you have everything that you need. If you need anything, you should definitely come and speak with me because I know the city very well. It's my home, and I have many good connections, and I can help you with anything you need.
Oh, that is a lovely offer. I would take you up on that. I would love that. Seems like a little bit of company would be very lovely around here.
Ah, good. Speaking, Your Highness, I would like to have you think about something, an opportunity for you.
Oh?
Have you thought about continuing? I know that what you wrote in Italy were just letters to the editor, but have you thought about perhaps writing more professionally?
Well, you asking me? Oh, well, I wouldn't say I'd ever considered it. I don't know if I mean, I'm no professional. I don't know if I have what it takes in me to make something. I'm sure you could find someone much more talented than I.
I knew that you might be a little hesitant, so why don't I introduce you to someone who might convince you? Walk with me this way. I would like to introduce you to someone.
I follow.
And he sort of takes your elbow and sort of guides you through this crowd.
Hands off me, brah.
I know. And you're like, that's a little like, it's like this kind of like, it's a little kind of like, I don't know, it might seem a little presumptuous and a little aggressive, but he's like framing himself as not particularly aggressive. But he just kind of is guiding you through this crowd. And as he's guiding you through this crowd, you catch Regina and Elias slide onto the dance floor, and they start dancing about as part of this. Like, there's people are dancing now, and they're part of this dancing crowd. And they
wait. Elias,
he's the creepy SS guy, the new head of the Gestapo.
Got it. Okay, cool.
So
got it.
They seem to, and Oscar is talking to Nicoletta in the corner as they're watching this dance going on. I don't know what they're doing over there, but they've got something happening.
Right. Nicoletta is
the ex. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Got it.
And he moves you through the crowd, right passing by Frieda, and he brings you to an Indian woman who looks to be in her mid-20s. Very good looking, dressed nicely, and she looks at you and she smiles when she sees you. And she is she's dressed in current Parisian fashion.
Oh,
is what I would say.
Stylish.
It is what she's wearing would say to you. It's worth money, but she's not obscenely wealthy, right? Like she's dressed nicely, but it's not. She's not poor. Clearly, it's just that she's not obscenely wealthy. But she's
very conservative. Then,
yeah.
A little bit conservative in the form of style.
Yes, a little conservative, but there's like a flash of color, like a little bit of red, right? Something that just kind of reads that she's a bit. She got a bit of fire to her. And Jean sort of says, if I might introduce Your Highness, this is Lakshmi Roy. Lakshmi Roy. This is His Highness Preetam Singh. And I thought that you might like to meet one of your fellow countrywomen while you were here in Paris. And I told her a little bit about you, and she said that she was very interested in speaking with you. I will get something to drink, and I will leave you with it.
Preetam seems very much out of his elements,
and
he's trying to compose himself. He's like because he was not expecting this at all. And he kind of takes a moment to kind of compose himself, and then turns to her finally and goes, pleasure to meet you, madame.
By the way, just for the record, Jean Lucher is going to create an advantage on you. He wants to throw you off your game.
Motherfucker.
Oh, yes. He wants to throw you off your game because, he was like, why don't I just show you to somebody who's attractive and you were not ready for. Let's just see what happens. Ooh, he rolled terribly.
Yeah, fuck you, John.
Could you roll your will, please?
I will. Sorry.
I'm not mad at all. I'm not mad at all.
Will. Oh, I'm gonna kick his ass.
By the way,
hard.
audience,
Please.
I don't know if you got to see Lakshmi Roy, but that's her right there.
Oh, that stare.
But yeah, she's got a great stare.
Okay, and then I don't do any ratings or anything. Just hit submit, right? Okay. Come on, baby. What?
Oh.
With the plus 4 will. My will is like my highest skill.
Yeah.
Oh.
How interesting.
Okay,
how interesting. So he's not able to get a put in a
we're off to a strong start.
He's not able to put a whole thing on
it's
you.
Not bad.
But he does get a little bit of a boost on you that can be used to maybe get you a little bit later. It's like a little temporary boost of off your game, as it were. And so that's, he just does that to, he's a little excited about that. I'm going to put it over there. And she smiles and she gives a little polite bow and she puts out her hand.
Yeah, he takes it and kind of gives us a very gentle, like a peck on it. That's like the typical, very courteous.
And she smiles. She says, Your Highness, I see that I was told that you were coming. I did not know that you would be here.
Things have come up and here I am.
Well, I did not think I would find, I did not think I'd find too many of my countrymen here, but I'm so glad that I did.
The pleasure is all mine, madame. He's just like, he's struggling.
Because how old are you?
I think I established him as 19. He's a youngin. He's a young
He's
kid.
a youngin, right? Like
he's 19.
Like you went through med school, right? So you're probably, yeah.
I think considering at the time, the education was different than when you started. So
he started.
I would imagine he's still maybe not 19. I'll set it up to 22.
Yeah, it's 22. Like 22. Yeah, that's what I imagine. And she seems about your age, maybe a tad older, and she's fixing you. She's clearly trying to read you and see what you're about. She's she looks you up and down to assess you, and she says, "So, tell me, when were you last at home?"
I mean, I would say I visited during one of my holidays. I was able to attend a Diwali festival.
Ah.
I would say maybe a couple of years ago.
Oh.
It's been let's just say it's been a while.
Of course. So forgive me. Where were you last month?
Where was I last month? I was in Italy. I was there for what was I there for again?
Aside from writing the letters?
You were apparently your covers that you were doing your practice there. You had a medical practice.
Right.
Like it was like your first medical practice, perhaps.
Right. I was finishing up my studies as in completing my medical degree.
She's going to do a little bit of empathy on you to see whether or not you're a liar, because she's just interested, just a little interested to see, how you're doing. And she rolls great. You're going to need to give me a deceive.
What?
How did I know she was going to be good at empathy?
I just upgraded that too, but I don't know if it would be good enough.
She knows people.
I highly doubt it'll be good enough, but that's... Nope!
So you're down by 3. Is there anything you'd like to do about that?
I mean... is there anything he can do about it?
There are many things you can do. There's so many things. You can succeed at a major cost. Right? That's a possibility. Or you could spend many fate points. It's it's up to you.
Oh dear. I would honestly say I'm gonna let it roll simply because knowing my character in that situation would be thrown off game just because of who he is and who he's interacting with. So I can imagine it not going as well as he expected. So that sounds very
So now she gets a boost on you, by the way, because she succeeded with style. I'm just gonna note it. And she, as you sort of sit there talking about your practice in Italy, it's like she's seeing right through you, as if she can see through your soul, and she can see everything, perhaps, if you are lying or not. And she...
Listen, I've only had 2 weeks of SS training.
You have. You've only had 2 weeks.
Okay, come on.
And you got practice how to do like interrogations, but that was usually in a basement with water, and this is a lot more pleasant. So there was a little bit of surprise.
About her perfume.
And she gives this little smile, and she thinks about this, your answer. She says, she kind of just steps a little bit closer to you so that maybe not anyone could overhear your conversation. And she says, "So, Your Highness?"
Yes?
Are you looking forward to your reign back home?
I mean, not really. I'm not in succession to any, thankfully, any sort of responsibilities at that level. I mean, I'd just be happy to start up a practice, a medical practice somewhere, and I just be a happy little doctor.
Your Highness, don't you think it's a bit irresponsible?
What do you mean?
Well, don't you think you have a responsibility to your people? It's the people of India.
I do have older brothers who are quite trained all their life actually to run a country, to run a kingdom, and I feel they're far more qualified than I could ever be in that sense. I've always felt that my responsibilities and how I can help my people and help the world was, through my medical practice and assist those who are in need and who are in ailment.
You know, you are a man of influence.
I mean, I'm not sure I could say much about that. I don't know if I can, how much influence I can procure.
Do you feel as if it's a good thing that your oldest brother will be running a kingdom?
I mean, are you familiar with my family, with my kingdom, and who is in charge?
She smiles but doesn't answer.
He kind of just stares for a second, and then kind of just he goes, "Well, I mean, Jaswant is a very noble man. He's kind-hearted. He definitely believes that in the interest of his own people. And like I said, he's been trained all his life to take up the throne, and I've always only ever seen him as a kind, gentle soul, maybe a little austere, a little strict, and a little stuck up, in my opinion, sometimes. But I mean, no one can fault them for being a little bit, stickler for the rules. I would say.
She thinks about it, and she says, "Well, one could fault him for being, well, nobility. Do you think we should even have kingdoms? How is that freedom?" This is going to be a rapport attack on you. She would like to convince you. She's working on you. She's working. She would like to change your attitudes a little bit. She would like you to be a little bit more sympathetic to her, is what she's excited about.
Okay.
I'm gonna write. She rolls good for her rapport, and you can defend with will.
With will. Oh, thank God. Okay. Come on, baby. Ah!
Interesting. Yeah. However, she has that boost, which I will use.
Son of a bitch.
To bring that up to a 5, so she matches you. And you have been thrown off of your game because of Jean Lucher, and I will spend that boost as well, bringing her up to a 7 versus your 5.
You devious man.
Set him up to knock him down. She's got you by 2 right now.
Okay. I mean, he stares at her.
It's 2 stress. You can take it, or you can spend some fate points.
Not worth it.
Not yet. 2 mental stress.
Okay. Mental. Oh, I can deal with that.
You've got a lot of mental stress. You're in a good space.
I'm a doctor, damn it.
Yes. So she says, well, you know, I believe that India, the best India, would be a free India, free of the Raj, of course, but free of the sort of inequalities that are plaguing our country.
You see, like, at this conversation, like, there's a shift in Preetam's personality. It's no longer someone who's nervous, and there's a little bit of a, like, kind of like a wall suddenly kind of came up. He kind of stares at her and just trying to assess her for a second. And the first thing he says is...
She will pass it to you, by the way, because we're in a big old social conflict.
And at that point, he goes, you know, one could possibly construe something like that as quite treasonous. As much as I understand where you're coming from, Madame, I would be careful with how open you are with such opinions. Thankfully, I happen to agree.
I see. I have a question for you.
Okay.
Is this a lie? Are you deceiving her, or are you rapporting her?
I am rapporting her.
All right.
In the sense of, I mean, there's a little more he wanted to kind of say. He goes, the thing about it is, I do personally believe that it's one step at a time. We are currently in a situation where we have a higher power oppressing us, and I feel it's best if we dealt with that first, and then perhaps consider where the path of our country can take after. But I'm always open to better paths, better what's the word I'm looking for? Options, so to speak. But what can I say? I'm just a mere doctor. Don't have much influence, like I have mentioned at the beginning.
Roll your rapport.
Okay.
She seems a little bit delighted by all of this right now. She's like, well, this is interesting.
Oh, yeah.
It's a tie.
Oh, God damn it. I can't get a break.
It is a tie. Would you like to do anything about that? Or you can get a boost on her if you like.
Do I have a boost on her?
Well, if you just take the tie, you get a boost.
I'll take the boost. I'll take the boost.
Who would you like to pass it to? We have Frieda is up. She could go if she wanted to. Also, her evil husband is around. You could pass it to him if you wanted to as well.
Is he a part of this conversation?
Oh, he's not part of the conversation, but he's lurking.
Oh.
He's lurking.
You know what? Bring him in.
Oh,
bring him in. Let's.
He likes to lurk. Let me just tell you that.
Yeah, little creep.
If only he was a little creep.
Oh no.
He's tall.
We can make him feel little. That's what we want.
Please.
Yeah. But usually when he feels little, he punches someone. So
that's also true.
And so she looks at you when you say this, and she is, she seems it looks to you as if she's enjoying a little bit of sparring with you. She thinks this is interesting. She's not as awed by your title as some people might be, but she's like, okay, let me see who you are. Let's see how this is going to go. And as you are sort of chatting with her, as she's about to perhaps respond, you see this man in military uniform sort of, he actually brushes by you slightly as if he's not really paying attention to you. And he's searching the room. And he brushes by you as you see Regina and this guy Elias do a kind of fairly intense and vaguely it's a little intense. Like it's a little intense. You're like, oh, what kind of vibes do they got going on? Not like a little sexual tension, sort of, or something. It's a little bit odd. Like they're just a little intense in their dance. They're
so
drawing.
Regina and Ella.
Yes,
okay.
And you know Regina's not into him, but like there's like this kind of a weird tension between them, and there's a bit of a performance to it. And he brushes by, and he walks up to. He's approaching Frieda. He's coming right towards you.
Mm-hmm.
And he is going to roll his awareness. He rolls a 1. Would you give me some deceive?
Me?
Our Frieda, please.
Me?
Mm-hmm.
I will roll deceive for you.
Please. I would love it. It would make me really happy. He walks right up to you. And he goes, you.
She still has that clipboard.
And he's not looking at you. He's looking...
Because I'm the help right
Yes.
now, thankfully.
Yes. He's looking through you and past you.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes,
Oui, monsieur.
you. And he seems to be... His eyes are wandering the room. And he goes, you work here?
Oui, monsieur.
I need something from you.
I just imagine her like holding up the clipboard.
Oui, monsieur.
There'll be a woman who'll be arriving here tonight. She's not on your clipboard. But there's no way she won't be here tonight. Her name is Frieda Engel. She's brunette, beautiful, famous. Everybody wants to be in her orbit. Like she's some sort of sun or something, and hypnotic. She's lost, I think. Your friend, she wouldn't understand German culture. She's important. She's on vacation, I think. She's my wife. Your job is to greet everyone. When she arrives, you must tell me.
Of course, monsieur.
If you don't tell me, I'll get you fired. Do you understand that? What's your name?
Evelyn Garnier.
Right, Evelyn Garnier, some French name. If you don't tell my wife, if you do not tell her I'm here, come immediately to me.
Oui, monsieur. Makes note on clipboard, like, just immediately, like, goes to fill that in.
You're French? You're from Paris?
Oui, monsieur.
Do you go to the opera? Do you see performances, music?
No, monsieur. I get unfortunately out of my price range.
You're not useful to me then. Stupid. And he fixes you with a stare. Although you don't know how much he's actually paying attention to you.
Yeah, it's just that he's angry kind of stare. He's mad. He wants to punch somebody, but he probably shouldn't punch the person he just asked to look for his wife. She's the greeter. Yeah.
You. I need you to do me more favors while you're here tonight.
Of course, monsieur.
There are people here are important. My name is Colonel Otto Voigt. You should say good things about me.
Of course, monsieur.
If you're greeting, you're wandering around, giving them drinks, whatever it is you do, just tell them that I'm important from Berlin. Maybe get them to come speak to me.
Of course, monsieur.
There's important news, and I need introductions. So you will introduce them, but do not make them think that I care about it. Just have them come and speak to me.
I will do my best, monsieur.
Good. He's going to make an awareness check right now. You don't need to roll.
Oh, okay.
By the way, quick question. Does Preetam at this point know anything about the relationship between Frieda and what's his nobody's face?
No.
What's his nobody's face?
But you can roll empathy.
Okay.
This will
be rapport? Will? What was that?
Empathy.
I need this wine. I'll have to order more wine.
Do I have not? Where is? Oh, there it is. Okay, there's my empathy. I was like, where the hell did it go? Okay. Oh, never mind.
I'm going to ask you a question. Would you like to roll deceit for me, my dearest Frieda?
Oh yeah, I could do that. Sure. I can roll deceit for you, maybe. It's good.
You see these two interacting, and you cannot read her at all. However, Frieda, you may ask a question of Preetam.
Oh.
What would you like to know about him? If you're observing him, you're sort of seeing him talk to this woman. You may ask a question that you might be able to get from your empathy about him.
So I know he's pretty new to this whole French resistance spy thing. How's he doing at this party? Is he okay? Does he need help?
You may answer that question. That is your answer.
He's talking to a woman. Help me.
Does he need an introduction to a very important German colonel?
I mean, that's his entire role at this party is to distract the important people so y'all can do your job. So if you want to toss him my way.
Right, like, so you're like, oh, okay, he seems
to... okay? He's okay.
He's
okay.
Oh, yeah. He's doing all right.
Yeah, he's
okay.
He's okay.
He's not doing amazing, but he's not doing terribly. Cool. But we will take...
Well, he does have, quite a few people observing him at this point and, like, in a conversation with him, right?
There are people, like, around. There's this sort of conversation happening, perhaps slightly treasonous. And so there's, like... there's like kind of an interesting sort of gaggle of people around him. It seems as if he's doing okay, a little stressed perhaps, but weathering it. But you can't tell what's going on with her in terms of feeling wise, but she's clearly like hiding herself a little bit with this clipboard against a guy who seems to be fairly aggressive, and who seems like if you're in like fight or flight, he seems to be in fight mode, just all the moment. And he goes, and you see him look past you, Frieda, with a look that it's like when you have an animal that's got really good instincts when maybe something might be off. Right? Yeah,
that'd be a good way to describe her husband.
Like something like
animal.
Just a big spit what? No, never mind.
Yeah, when that animal's got the instinct like, oh, something's off here, like there's something wrong, and you notice he gets that look of something is off here, something is wrong, and it's that kind of like his hackles go up, and you see him looking past you towards the buffet table.
I would find someone to send your way now, monsieur. And then
And he is sort of staring past you with like
Yeah. I excuse myself and I go to walk to get someone introduced to him. And as I'm past him, I look to see who or what he's looking at the...
He's looking at that woman. Who's...
The waitress?
The waitress, who's standing at the buffet table as the song ends and Nicoletta and Oscar come onto the dance floor. But Oscar, before he starts dancing, says, clears the floor, and in that sort of arrogant way that he does, and he clears the floor of all the other dancers, and those two start dancing. A very close, very intense slow waltz, which seems a tad inappropriate. Like it is very sexual in vibe and tone, and they're sort of dancing and spinning like right in front of Regina and her husband, and like they've cleared the scene and people are looking at them, and she is looking at them as well. She's looking over at that whole sort of crowd, the blonde, and
I don't recognize her.
You don't.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yes, but she's not doing her job.
Oh, blonde German. He probably just thinks she's attractive or something. It's fine.
That wasn't the look that your husband had.
Oh, because she knows that look really well as well.
It was a look of like, I don't like this. Like something's wrong here. It was like, I don't like it.
Yes. I will go get the prince to introduce to this very important colonel from Berlin.
And as you're approaching the prince, Lakshmi says, well, it would be treasonous if that is the government that you believe in. I have other options that you might be interested in. I don't know if you know this, but I have it on very good authority that Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose has been in conversation with the German government, and they have, last month, opened up the Free India Center, and he's starting a radio station also, last month as well. My understanding is that he will be declaring a free Indian government, and that the German government will recognize it, and with him as the head of this free, uncolonized government. And he is in Berlin. And so it's not treason.
Well, sounds like quite a driven individual. Would you... And I'm assuming I'm trying to think if Preetam would know.
This is the question. He's big, right? He was important, but a question is
right.
how big, how knowledgeable is Preetam on
Subhash?
Yeah,
Chandra Bose. Yeah, because he's big.
He's big.
He's a big freedom fighter. He's a big freedom fighter.
He's a big freedom fighter. He just had his falling out with Gandhi just recently, and he's like, okay, now he's hanging out in Nazi Germany at the moment, trying to get allies for a not so nonviolent resistance.
Yeah.
And the question is, does our sheltered Preetam know about him? Maybe.
I feel like the name is familiar to him. Yeah. He knows. It sounds familiar. It's not a question of does he know who he is, what he has done, et cetera, et cetera. It's more of the name sounds, because before he ever got involved or he went off to Oxford, he didn't really get himself involved in his family politics or he was very sheltered.
Yeah, that's what I imagined. Yeah.
Yeah, he was very sheltered, but also kind of like that sort of a middle child where he was overlooked.
Yeah.
So he kind of, didn't really have like the eyes from his parents and other royalty on him as much as, like, say, his older brother would, or was as doted on as his younger sister is.
Yeah.
So he kind of was left to his own devices, I would say. So he did read a lot. And I would imagine that's where he got a lot of the freedom fighter related ideologies from. So I definitely would say he's very pro freedom fighters.
So he might know some of their names, right?
Yeah. So I would say yeah.
Okay, could you give me academics?
Okay.
I'm going to need an academics from you.
Academics. Oh, I'm average. Ooh.
Okay, you may know him, but you don't know her. You've never heard her name before.
Lakshmi?
So you don't know her. But she's like assessing you with this. She says, he's going to be Radio Free India. Well, it's Azad Hind Radio, we're calling it. He's calling it. It could use... There are a number of Indians abroad who could be swayed. The BBC spends so much time spending propaganda and lies, and it would be good if there were other voices to give a different point of view. And if those voices belong to someone of your status, you could do a lot.
Well, that would be a very interesting concept, and I definitely am interested. I mean, oh, he doesn't say interested. Sorry, I would say that would be a proposition I would love to learn more about in the future. Perhaps over a drink of wine.
I would love it. Your Highness, or could I call you Dr. Singh?
Please do.
Thank you. We have the opportunity to have our own freedom, but that they will not give it up without a fight. And we now have allies who will equip an army. And Natashi Bose says that he will allow women to fight, as we have in the past. There's an opportunity for something that they will not give without violence. And we cannot do it on our own. And Mr. Hitler and his friends will support us. And we have a great leader. And we need more people with more sway. You could reach so many people who wouldn't listen to someone like me, but they would listen to you.
I wouldn't know what I could say, but if my voice could help my country, I'm willing to listen more. However, you did mention how they're willing to equip us and train us and provide assistance. In my experience, no one does anything for free.
No.
What's the catch?
Well, there's always a catch, I'm sure, but I trust Nataji Boze. I trust that he is smart and can... And she just leans in a little bit closely as she sees someone approaching, and it's Frieda. I trust that he can get around them. He can get what he needs. We are already being drawn into this war. My brother being forced to fight so he can have food. The war is upon us. The question is, which side do we want to fight for? The Raj or for our freedom?
I wish the choice was as black and white as you have put it. But little in life tends to be. And like I said, I don't really trust anybody more outside of our country than I do the Raj or the German regime or the French, what have you. I don't know how much foreign assistance or how far that would be of benefit to us. You know, growing up as the middle child, I did read a couple of the works that Mr. Chandra Bose had put out, and I've had the opportunity to listen to quite a few of our fellow brethren and sisters talk about freedom and talk about what they wish to do and the path we wish to take. And though I'm inexperienced, and I'm sure with my privilege, I'm not sure I could, my opinions are valid or realistic. But I do believe that our people have what it takes within themselves, without foreign aid, without external assistance, with ulterior motives.
And this is what Frieda hears as she's stepping into this conversation in close. She says, Lakshmi says to you, she says, I imagine you got your medical training somewhat interesting. She says, quietly enough that no one around would hear, and that is that seeing through your deceit earlier.
Would at this point it'd be obvious that he's been seen through?
You don't know how much she's seen, but she's seen some, right?
Mm-hmm.
A little bit. She says, so presumably you've not been home in the places I've been. Prison? For protesting? They're shooting women. They're shooting students who are doing nothing but carrying a flag. Peaceful protesters are being shot in the streets. I have served 2 years in prison for being a protester. The Germans have never done that to me. And if they will provide training and support so we can kick the Raj out of our homeland, I think it's worth it. You just have to have vision.
Well, madame, it seems you seem to have the vision, more than enough vision for both of us together. And at that point, he was trying to kind of like use a little bit of a joke to kind of but at the same time, he kind of like his face. He gets a little serious, and then like stares right at her eyes and goes. And then the first thing he says is, "I cannot undo what you have experienced. But if it's worth anything, all I can say is, I'm sorry."
I feel like we're doing some rapports on each other. I'm just going to note it.
Okay.
She's going to rapport you.
Okay.
You can resist with your will, and you may rapport her in return.
Okay, resist first with the will. Okay. Goddamn.
That's why. You do not take any stress from her at all.
Okay. And then me roll rapport.
Okay. Because she is really trying to win you over. Do you know what I mean? To her side. She wants you as an ally.
No.
She hears you, right? She notes it. I would say yes to the drink. Perhaps not here.
And as she says that, Frieda is like walking over. There's a waiter carrying back a bunch of like empty and half-empty glasses. She picks it up. And then puts the empty glass on, like picks it up and then reaches out and barely catches it on the way as she walks over to the prince.
And and she smiles at you. She's not quite certain who you are. She nods. Oh, I'm sorry if you need His Highness.
Oh, someone has requested an introduction, Your Highness.
And she just says, and she bows to you, a light bow.
And if I heard a name that, she would say, "A very important colonel from Berlin."
Oh, she says, and just with that, that's all you actually needed to say. The minute you say an important colonel from Berlin, and she just kind of takes a step back.
I hate to keep you. Yeah.
And right as you're about to go off, she goes, "Listen, I'm certain we can get you a radio spot on Radio Paris here to speak. And she just makes a little note, and she writes her name and her number, and she hands it to you.
Let's go. No, I'm kidding.
That's what she thinks. And she's sort of let's go so you can go and talk to important Germans, because there's clearly there's been 2 people so far, and now it looks like maybe 3 people who are all ready to go and get you to be part of the German propaganda effort. Well, she wants it for her country,
Right.
Frieda.
Since she's walked away, and I'm assuming most people are still paying attention to that dance.
Oh, that dance. Oh, the dance is
happening. And so with her clipboard in hand, she would just lean in a little bit, as if oh, I'm here to tell you something, and then introduce you to someone. She'd be like, he is more self-important than anything. He is my husband, and he cannot know I am here. Oh, Frieda.
Well, that is that is an interesting turn of events.
I am Frieda Engel is currently kidnapped by the French resistance.
Fair enough.
But no one knows this yet, so he could benefit from a distraction if you are free.
Say no more. And then at that point, he kind of just pulls back and goes, "No, I don't want a drink. Thank you very much. I have one in my hand."
Of course, monsieur. And then just gesture. Colonel Voigt wished to speak with you.
He turns to Jean and he goes, "Well, my friend, you've introduced me to some wonderful people. Is there anybody else at this party of worth, of someone who I need to take notice of?
Oh.
Or at least know of?"
Of course. You should definitely pay attention to the ambassador, the German ambassador to France, Arthur Abetz, he points. He is also influential. A very dear friend of mine. We've known each other a very long time. And I hope you enjoyed yourself with the young lawyer, Miss Roy. I hope you got along well.
Oh, yeah.
I also could get you a spot on the Radio Paris if you'd be interested. You have a good voice, and we would be very interested in having you maybe make some speeches, if you would be. You should think about this.
Well, that is... I'm not going to lie, that's quite the generous offer. I definitely will consider it. Thank you so much for considering me for this honor.
Good.
But yes, if you don't mind, then perhaps, considering I am new to this country and new to this city, I would love to make more connections and perhaps make new friends. So if you would be so kind, introduce me to some of these important people that you had mentioned.
Of course.
And then before he says, and thank you once again for introducing me to Miss Lakshmi.
Oh yes, she's I think she came here for some, I don't know, something happened back home, and I think she had to finish studies here or something like this. But she's charming. But come. And he starts moving you. He's angling to bring you towards the ambassador. I need an awareness from you.
I need a what?
Awareness from you.
Awareness.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get anything out of this.
See what we got.
Oh, what the fuck?
Oh,
Okay.
that's good.
I clearly don't know how dice rolls work in this game.
No. As he's bringing you towards this ambassador, you catch Regina put her finger on Elias Yeager's chin and turn his head to the banquet table and points out this blonde woman, this waitress. Regina points out the blonde woman to this man, Yeager, and he does not look happy. And she looks really, really... Well, that would be an empathy roll. That would be an empathy roll.
Shall I make an empathy roll?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, God damn it.
You cannot read her. I could ask a question about you, but she does not want to know anything about you. She only has eyes for that group over there. Very intense. Very intense.
The dancing group, she only has eyes on them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
As he's bringing you past, and as he's bringing you towards the ambassador, this man, this German man in a suit, is in a bit of a state. He looks around, he comes up to you both, and he goes, who am I supposed to speak to?
About what, monsieur?
There's a problem.
The party? Oh, I'd be more than happy to help. How can I assist, monsieur?
And he's about to say something when there's a clinking of glasses. And the party planner says, Mademoiselle, Monsieur, Damen und Herren, I would like to introduce the guests of our party this evening. And he turns. I'm very happy to have the brand new head of the Gestapo for the Geheimsicherheitspolizei for France. Please, Major Elias Yeager. And everybody claps. Everyone's clapping. And they keep clapping. And they keep clapping. And he's not there in the ballroom anymore. And Oscar stands up and starts making a big speech about how great Elias is and about how he's going to make a movie. And everybody starts sort of gravitating towards this sort of big spectacle that Oscar is doing about saying how wonderful the guest of honor who does not seem to be present is. And I have a question for you before we go to break. Frieda.
Oh no. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes. What's your question?
I would like to ask you if you would like to make an awareness check.
Yeah, I would, I guess. I'll roll awareness. One of these days, I'm gonna roll all plus.
Would you like to succeed at a major cost?
No, not
Are you
this
sure?
time. No.
Okay.
But no, not at a major cost. No, you already talked me out of 2 fate points, Trooper. That's
All right.
No.
So instead of seeing anything, it's your husband in your face. And he says, who am I supposed to speak to? Who's important? Who's in charge here?
I could introduce you to the party planner.
No, he's speaking.
Captain. Monsieur. Miss Lisette is the hostess here tonight. Miss Lisette Roland. But Monsieur, I wanted to introduce you to His Highness Prince Preetam Singh.
There's a person here with a gun.
I will handle this immediately. Please, could you point? I will get security. Please, could you point this out this person?
And he points towards the buffet table, but there's no one there. There was a woman. She had a gun. I saw it.
Will investigate immediately, monsieur. Oh, not well.
And with that, we're going to go to break, though, everybody.
Yep. Elsa's got a gun.
But she's not anywhere to be seen. Regina's not anywhere to be seen. Nicoletta's not anywhere to be seen. And also, Jaeger's not anywhere to be seen.
A whole lot of beds.
So,
Who is this person?
all of the guests of honor seem to be missing at the moment.
This is fine.
And I'm going to offer you a compel.
Oh, no.
Frieda.
Of course it's me. What compel do you want?
You have a jealous, controlling husband.
I do.
That is your trouble aspect.
That is my troubled aspect.
I think that at this moment, when he is stressed out about there being somebody with a gun that he saw and nobody's paying attention to him and giving him all sorts of respect that he clearly deserves.
Clearly deserves, yeah.
That he would grab you and force you to take him places that he needs to be. He wants to go on a search, and
for this lady with the gun? Oh, no.
And he wants to he's just going to take you with him because he's that kind of jerk.
Now, I have a question for you. Is he, since he's my husband, I would know what languages he speaks. Is he speaking in French? Is he speaking in German? Does he know French or Italian?
He does not know Italian. He knows some French. His French is very bad. But he's just speaking to you in German because he's that kind of person that's just going to assume.
Yes. So she would be speaking poor German with a heavy French accent.
Would you?
Okay, just because if I had to take him around.
No, he's going to take you around.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. It'd be good to have people who could.
Would you like this fate point?
But I don't like how you haven't spent any of your fate points yet tonight.
I only have two.
Yeah.
Would you like to accept this compel for him to manhandle you around the estate to go looking for this woman with a gun? Because here's the thing about him. He likes to be a hero. If he can go and save the day, it's going to make him look real good.
Yeah.
But he needs a witness.
That's what he grabbed her for?
Yeah.
Yes. He's the worst.
Yeah. That's, You can take the fate point and he grabs you, or you give me a fate point and he doesn't.
I feel like,
at that point, if I can, I will approach and get between him and Evelyn or Frieda.
Evelyn,
and he's got her hand, like her elbow, like in a bit of a vice grip.
Yeah, imagine
he completely ignores him. He's a goddamn prince.
Yes.
You are beneath me. He's playing it up at this point. He's intentionally playing it up because
I love the chat. He needs a higher ranking witness.
And he goes,
Excuse me, I did ask for a drink earlier, and you never came by. I do feel this is I don't wish to complain, but if I could have my drink now, that would be wonderful.
Terribly sorry, Your Highness, and definitely make like
KP,
Your Highness.
are you gonna pay the fate point so she doesn't have to be manhandled by him? I want to know.
Yeah.
Give me that fate point then.
There's a hero here, and it's not my husband.
Hey, how do I roll
open it up, drag it onto the mat, and then you can delete it.
I'm clicking on it, but why are you? I see it on the bottom right. Fate point tokens.
Yeah.
And then like,
And it should
is it?
You should open a little box, and then you can drag it onto the mat.
It doesn't come up.
It's above your name tag.
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh,
is it
like bottom left? Yes. So I have like troopers 2. I have 1. You have 2.
Oh, there it is.
Yep.
Okay,
Click
cool.
And
I
then
was
you drag
thinking
one
at the
out.
bottom right there was something.
Yeah,
Got it.
there's those there too. Those are
Okay,
for the
how many
GM,
fate
though.
points
Just
do
one.
I need to? Just one.
Just one.
There we go.
And you pull this help away from him, and he gives you a look.
And Frieda would make Evelyn would make introductions. I'm terribly sorry, Your Highness. This is Colonel Otto Voigt. This is
He kind of just looks at him, goes, and then turns around and goes, "My drink, please."
Of course, Monsieur.
Before we go to break, this is what happens right now, at this moment. Because some people are like how they are, he pushes Evelyn out of the way, and he takes a swing at you.
Oh, no. This is my husband. I'm sorry.
He does not like it when people take women from him or talk to him.
Either way, you just made a mistake. Whether or not you actually hit me or not.
No, yeah.
Maybe this will get him kicked out.
Yes.
Royalty.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, let's
he
go
doesn't know
for
who
it.
you are, and he doesn't care because he's kind of the
it's
worst.
because he hasn't heard her saying, Your Highness,
No,
Your
that's
Majesty,
fine.
the Prince.
He rolls a
perfect.
6 for fighting.
Oh, no.
He's going to
He's really good at one thing.
He's really good at one thing, and it is brutalizing people.
Oh dear.
Roll your athletics.
Oh no, this is a terrible. Who could have assaulted the prince who's a guest?
Oh, let's go.
Oh, I think I'm gonna have to report this to the party planner. Maybe some
All right,
security.
character and then athletics, which
Yes, please.
is absolutely
Or fighting, whichever one
it-
is better for you. Athletics or fighting.
or fighting. I think both are exactly the same. So
Are they both 0? Because mine are
the
both
one,
0.
they're both one. He's had some
Better than me.
training.
Uh-huh. All right.
Oh, it's only 3.
Would you like to do anything about that?
Oh.
Because you're down by 3.
What?
Well, we do have some aspects we could call on because isn't Oscar giving a speech right now?
Is.
Isn't that pretty distracting?
He's giving a
potentially?
huge speech right now. Yes.
Yeah, like maybe like it's distracting enough that maybe the punch isn't as potent.
Got to spend fate points on it though.
Oh, that's right. We have how many? We have 3
Yes, you have 3.
group fate points.
Yes,
Want to
you
use
do.
a group fate point for a distraction?
May I
Like
use it? May I use?
Yeah,
a
don't
group-
get hit too hard.
Yep.
I will use one group fate point, please.
Take 1 physical stress.
Because then it's
Okay.
less, yeah.
I'm going to ask you to tell me, this guy is, you know how like a lot of sort of upper, like high-level officers are kind of svelte and sort of like, fancy. He is brutish, right? He is broad, he's got a brow, and he is red-faced and angry all the time. And he just does not like it when people question him. And he's
that's
going to
fine.
haul off, and he's going to come with this massive, massive blow right towards you. And I want you to tell me how this blow doesn't really do too much to you. Like, a little bit here and there, but it doesn't do much. How does this happen?
He has learned through his training the best thing if he cannot block a punch or retaliate fast enough, the best thing to do is to roll with the punch, as the saying goes, and kind of just minimize the impact as much as possible. And
But make it look like a bad hit. Like,
oh yeah, like enough so that there is a mark. There will be a mark.
Yes.
And I just poured you a drink, so I think seeing you get slugged, I could drop it, have the glass shatter, so that everyone looks at this and be like, "Sacre bleu!"
By the way, he comes down and Preetam swings back.
Well, we're gonna find out what happens after our 2-minute break, everybody.
And everyone's watching.
Everybody's watching. We're gonna go to our break to find out what happens.
Actually, you might not. We'll see.
What happens after this blow? That's it, everybody. Wait, before we go to break, I want to thank. I believe we had a donation. We did. Yes, Rissa just donated just a few minutes ago 400 bits. Just said, "Ooh, good job so far to our cast." Yeah. So let's see what happens. Look, he just attacked. He just hit a prince at this party because he has anger management issues.
Not to mention, he's not an invited guest.
No, he's not an invited guest. He's
a +1.
He's a +1. He's not an invited guest. We're going to break, everybody. I'm very excited to see what happens. We will stretch your legs, right? Hydrate yourself. I've got some hydration as well. And when we get back, we're going to find out what happens after this not as effective punch as it could be, but a mark. A little bit of a mark, right? Mm-hmm.
Maybe like just a split lip, just a little bit there to be like, look, like, because those bleed a lot. And they look real bad, but they don't hurt terribly much.
Ooh, well. Colonel Autovoit, let's see. We'll see you in 10 minutes.
The historic Sunday of December 7th ends. It is Monday, December 8th, 1941. At 12:25 p.m. in the chambers of the House of Representatives, members of the House and Senate hold a joint session, knowing that 20 hours and 25 minutes before, Japan had declared war on the United States and Great Britain. That Britain and the first of 18 other nations have declared war on Japan. Every important government official in Washington is present as Franklin Delano Roosevelt delivers his historic message. But none is more attentive than a group of 25 top-ranking officers in the Navy's Bureau of Aeronautics. These officers, some gray-haired four-stripers, a few commanders, and a few of lesser rank, gather in the office of their chief, Rear Admiral Jack Powers, to hear the President's words by radio. With confidence. I ask that the Congress declare that since the unprovoked and dastardly attack by Japan on Sunday, December 7th, 1941, a state of war has existed between the United States and the Japanese Empire. Ladies and gentlemen, you have just heard... Gentlemen, we have work to do. 51 minutes after the President had spoken, the Senate, with not a single dissenting vote, the House, with but one, declares war on Japan. On no issue was the United States ever so united. To a greater extent than at any time since he first took command during the choking depression 8 years ago, Franklin Delano Roosevelt could act with complete authority. He could fire, hire, demand, order, and get what he thought best and necessary, with perfect assurance that the country was solidly behind him. At 4:10 p.m., the President signs the war resolution passed by the Congress. Then, after a brief talk with Russian Ambassador Maxim Litvinov, who has just arrived in Washington, the tired chief executive relaxes on his office sofa, falls asleep. Sleeps soundly for an hour. The office in which Franklin Delano Roosevelt takes his brief, well-earned rest once belonged to his old chief, Thomas Woodrow Wilson. It is the same office in which one night 24 years ago, Woodrow Wilson wrote the stirring words which called his country into a great war. Words still remembered. To such a task, we can dedicate our lives and our fortunes. everything that we are and everything that we have with the pride of those who know that the day has come when America is privileged to spend her blood and her might for the principle that gave her birth and happiness and the peace which she has treasured. God helping her, she can do no other. Tokyo, Wednesday, December 10th. In the village of Ise stands the shrine of the sun goddess, most hallowed spot in all Japan. To the shrine comes a little man wearing 6 spectacles, a ceremonial kimono, and a black lacquered skull cap. He is the Emperor Hirohito, who believes he is a direct descendant of the sun goddess. Entering the shrine's innermost sanctuary, Hirohito places his wooden scepter under one arm, bows low. He claps his hands to summon the spirit of his distinguished astronomical ancestor with whom he wishes to confer. He has news for her. Imparts it in a swift, eager whisper. His message conveyed, he bows again, then walks out of the shrine backwards. Hirohito, the son of heaven, has just told the sun goddess that 3 days ago his government declared war on the United States and the British Empire. It is an auspicious day for this mystic conversation. Japanese troops have landed on the Philippine island of Luzon. First foreign troops to make a full-fledged landing on U.S. soil since the War of 1812. But reports Douglas MacArthur, commanding general of U.S. and Philippine forces in the Philippines, German resistance has confined this action to the attack in the vicinity of Apari at the extreme northern tip of Luzon, where the Japanese attempted to establish a beachhead. Air activity continued in the vicinity of Manila, with intermittent attacks on airfields at Cavite and Nichols Field throughout the day. The situation is in hand. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, this morning, one story was the same. America's young men stormed recruiting offices, kept them open 24 hours a day. Many brought their toothbrushes and razors along in the hope of lessening delays. Typical are the scenes in New York City, where with voluntary recruiting at double the rate of World War I, the Navy finds fit and signs on in 2 days enough volunteers to furnish crews for 3 destroyers. The young men wait by thousands in the cold early morning, slowly shuffling to the service of their country. A newspaper man goes down the line asking questions.
Say, what's your name, buddy? I'm from the Daily News.
Oh, a reporter, huh?
Yeah. My name's Gordon Rome. I'm from Bergen Street, Brooklyn. I sure hope they got a place to sit down in the Navy. My feet are killing me.
Pretty tired, huh?
Waiting here all night.
Sure, I'm tired as hell.
Lots of guys are more tired than me. Anyway, it doesn't matter much how you feel. You know what you gotta do. I'm here to do it.
How about you, mister? You from Brooklyn, too?
Yeah, that's right. I'm Dave Coward from Heck Street over in Brooklyn Heights.
Well, how do you feel about all this?
Well, I served 3 years in the Philippines with the 60th Coast Artillery. Hey, listen, you guys. We got a tough job on our hands. I know the Japs are good. Yeah, well, wait till we get out.
I guess that's right.
Good.
And how about you?
I come to volunteer, please.
Say, you ain't a Jap, are you?
Oh, no. My name's Edward Tong, 240 East 30th Street. I am Chinese.
Oh, I see. Excuse me.
Makes it easy to want in service with Japan enemy. Strasbourg turned me down. Bad eyes. Maybe want me now, yes?
Well, good luck, Mr. Tong. How about you, lad?
Me, I'm from over on Bleecker Street. My old man's got a grocery store there. I'm Italian born.
Well, don't you know we're liable to be fighting the Italians?
Sure. And the Germans, too. That's all right for me. I'm an American.
Voicing the thoughts of a vast majority of the American people, this recruit was right. For today in Berlin, Adolf Hitler addresses his Reichstag of stooges, declares war on the United States.
President Wilson deceived Germany. And now, between your Führer and President Roosevelt, there is a worldwide abyss. President Roosevelt failed to recognize the new order. he failed to recognize certain newly established governments. On the other hand, he recognized puppet governments with no territory. The Army tried to prevent a break with the United States, but our patience has come to an end. So now, Italy and Germany, in loyal fulfillment of the obligations under the Axis Agreement, associate themselves with Japan in the struggle against America. No one will vanquish Germany. No one will destroy German unity. Germany is strong. Let us thank God we can enter our name in the history of the Reich.
At the same time in Rome, another stooge of Adolf Hitler's, Benito Mussolini, addresses his people from the balcony of his Palazzo Venezia.
The powers of the Axis back of sail against fascist Italy and the National Socialist Germany, ever closely linked, participate from today on the side of heroic Japan against the United States of America. The formidable blows which have already been inflicted to the American forces in the Pacific show you how prepared are the soldiers of the Empire of the Rising Sun. I say to you, and you will understand, that it is a privilege to fight with them. The Italians once more arise and be worthy of this historical hour. We shall win.
President Roosevelt drafts his second war message in 4 days, and this time in only 135 words, asks the Congress to extend the theater of this nation's war to the two remaining Axis aggressors. At 1:04 p.m., without debate, without one dissenting vote, the Senate and the House of Representatives obey the request. Today, the U.S. Army Air Force lifts at the heart of all Americans with a major achievement. U.S. Army bombers rise from a Manila airfield with orders to engage the enemy off northern Luzon. The commander with his flashlight behind him reports.
2250 to Manila.
Go ahead, 2250.
Reconnaissance was right. Target sighted. Japanese capital ship. About 29,000 tons.
Okay.
We are over target. Signing off.
Okay, 2250. Good luck.
6.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Welcome back. We had a lovely bit of the party where their main guests are sort of gone missing, except for Oscar, who's holding court. And our prince got to meet a young woman, a lawyer who from India, who's hanging out with some freedom fighters who are trying to get some allies with the Germans. And they are hoping that this influential noble might be one of their allies, might help them influence people and all of that. And so there's a lot of political maneuvering trying to get our prince to go and maybe be a little bit of a propagandist for free India, but then also their new allies. We'll see how that goes. We have a bull in the china shop who is Frieda's husband, who got mad because someone took a woman that he was going to go and manhandle away from him, and he does not like that at all. And as we ended that break on our cliffhanger, he took a swing at the prince. And, you know...
Ooh, that music.
Oh no, I need something a bit more exciting. Here, this we need. We need this one. Here you go. Yeah, I think this is better. Because this will be a... Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He swings at you, and he passes his turn to you. What would you like to do? As he does this big, huge haymaker, it's like it's a fairly telegraphed, and he does smack you right in the face. But you're able to roll with it so that it doesn't actually do any damage to you, but it makes a good mark.
And
oh, I'm sorry. Wait. Sorry, actually, I have to pass it to Frieda because she doesn't move first. I believe she drops her glass.
I drop the glass and sacre bleu, because I just fetched the prince a drink and he's getting punched in the face, and I imagine that the glass hits the floor. She knows how her husband punches. She knows the timing of this, so it's just the shatter. People look. They would look just as the punch was landing on the prince.
This, I feel like, is creating an advantage.
I would love to create an advantage.
I feel like you're probably using some deceit here.
Yes.
I would roll it. I
will do so. Great.
That's great. So here's my question for you.
Okay.
You succeed. You create an advantage. Here's my question for you.
Okay.
What advantage would you like to create?
I think the advantage she would like to create. Let me think of the wording on this. You know, everyone's watching, draw a crowd, that kind of thing.
Everyone's...
All eyes on them.
All eyes on Otto?
Yeah, because he's the aggressor here. The poor prince is just a victim.
That's terrible that happened.
I mean, it's obvious since...
Beautiful, kind...
Yeah.
I assume you'd like to pass it to the prince?
I would.
Now you may go. You have
and
there's an aspect up there.
You'd probably notice that the glass shatters and everyone's turns around.
You see, like, the prince on the ground kind of crouch down, and then there's a pause. He kind of... He's playing it up. He is like waiting and giving that pause, that nice pregnant pause.
Because he plays football.
For people to kind of...
He plays football. It's like you just got tapped and you're like, ah!
Exactly.
Wait for that red card.
And it's not even like, he's not trying to be dramatic about it, but just like giving the right amount of silence.
That timing.
Yeah, to kind of just let people process what's going on, and him kind of play up like he actually got hit pretty hard. And also to let some of, I'm assuming because we mentioned like there's a little bit of blood.
Like a busted lip a bit.
Yeah,
busted lips bleed so much.
Yeah.
So it's probably like, oh, and then you come up and there's just blood and it's just,
Yeah. And
time
so
to cool it a little bit, you know?
Yeah, and then so, I really like this. This is exactly how I was going to play it up, but someone mentioned this, but he has older brothers.
Yes.
They can be kings all they want. They can be royalty all they want. But in the end, older brothers are older brothers. So rough housing in the privacy of their bedrooms is
de facto, and growing up and playing and being forced to play rough sports.
Yep.
Preetam, as a younger child, he's not a very athletic person. He was much more of the type to be in his own room. So anytime he was forced to be physical, he found ways to get out of it.
Yeah.
He was, dramatic about it. And that is paying off in spades tonight. And so you just see him, he's just like, and you kind of just like see him like rub his lips, and you see like the blood kind of come across his hand. Kind of he stares at it. He kind of just like stands up, and like pulls out a little handkerchief out of his pocket and kind of just dabs it a little.
You notice Lakshmi is like approaching, like she doesn't want to get into the middle of this fight, but you notice that she has moved from wherever she was in the party to sort of be in the area, because she doesn't know if this is going to go off or not, but she's clearly concerned about you. Like you see her in the corner of your eye.
And he kind of looks at it, and he's even at this point, he refuses to acknowledge this man. He doesn't look at him. He doesn't talk to him. He instantly just yells, "Jean. Mr. Jean."
Okay. I would like you to make an attack. My question for you is this provoke or rapport? Because I feel like you are making us... well, provoke is a little bit more evoking negative feelings in people. Rapport is like good cop versus bad cop.
Okay. I mean, he wants Jean at this point to take his side out of fear because he wants him.
Yeah, that's right.
Jean wants
Preetam,
and he does not want to see him mad, I'm sure. Especially not to some
Especially when they're like, we want you to talk with all the Germans.
Yes.
And he's just punched by one.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, I'm royalty. I have some clout. I am good enough to be on their goddamn radio. And here I am on the floor, punched by a nobody. And therefore, I will roll. I will do, but I'm not. What is the word? Provoke?
Rapport or provoke? Rapport is
Unfortunately, I don't have provoke, so I'm gonna go with rapport. I think I'm gonna tell
high status, right? Like you're doing this like as a high status politics. Yeah.
Pity heartstrings, less. Yeah.
So
because again, you're not acknowledging the aggressor.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like, I'm going to submit that report. No, fair is not bad. Fair is not
okay.
Maybe worse.
So I'm going to roll against Otto because this is an attack on him, right? Like you're talking to Jean, but this is an attack on Otto. And I'm going to roll his will, which is very, very good. It's just a 2 because he doesn't have a lot of will because, Okay, so here's the thing. You beat him by 2. However, this is what I would call, this is an attack to get the crowd against him, 2, he can soak with his stress. You do have a free invoke, all eyes on Otto.
There is that free invoke if you wanted to use that to get an extra +2.
Let's do this.
There's also a free invoke. You have influence with Corinne.
Which is Jean's daughter.
Daughter.
Yes.
And I'm sure at this point she got the word about me supporting her. And,
I'm sure.
And also that you might also be in entertainment, which she's interested in. So let's say you just take those all eyes on Otto to bring you from a 2 to a 4. How do you think Corinne could help influence the situation to turn the crowd against him?
I think she's gonna play at her father's heartstrings.
She's also an actress.
And she's gonna like, I'm going to say like she's gonna dramatize it more than. Well, first off, I'm sure like considering how long she's being
blood.
Like she's been away from the acting scene because of her father.
Yes, she
has. This is a moment for her to shine.
Yes, it is.
He is going to act her heart out.
And she's gonna almost swoon, right? She's gonna almost swoon because there's so much blood, and you can see Jean just come sweeping. But we may not be done yet. I just want to know if you want to spend any more fate points on this. At the moment, At the moment, you're at 6 versus his 0. And I would use my fate points.
How badly do I want to destroy this man?
That's the question. I'm going to just say that I have fate points that I could spend, but he does not have any aspects that would help him in this situation. He doesn't have aspects like keep cool or likable.
I'm some of his aspects, aren't I?
Yeah, and he doesn't
like
have
famous wife.
Yeah, right. That is
but
true.
You're not known right now.
No, that is correct. He doesn't have
I'm
anything.
not.
He doesn't have anything that will help him right now because he doesn't have people like me aspects. Those are not the things that he has. So you're currently beating him by 6.
You know what? I'm gonna use one of my fate points just to get him fucked.
What?
I'm gonna get this guy. He fucking punched me.
He did. He did.
My own mama didn't punch me. He is.
What aspect are you going to be helping in this brutal social takedown?
My oh man, why does it look like it condensed all my aspects? Where's the different aspects I had?
Top right.
Attributes and abilities, or no, I see the aspects. So high concept, trouble. Okay, there it is.
Yep.
Faction. Yeah. Oh, I don't think I used anything in the relationships. Crap.
And side note: if you spend 2 fate points, you will take him out. Because
I don't have to. I have 1. Damn.
Oh no, but they're 2 group fate points.
There are 2 group fate points.
Mm-hmm.
That's a group thing, though. I can't.
But you can do it. You only got.
But if he gets out, our job gets easier because I don't have to
2
hide as
fate
much.
points.
But you
because
need
he's the
to-
most
yeah.
likely person to recognize me. But do you have
mean,
2 aspects to pull upon?
You need 2 aspects.
Yes, I have my high concept
Yep.
and my free one. So my high concept is an SOE trained
Yes.
Oxford doctor,
Yep.
and my which I feel brings on its own clout. And on top of that, my free one is disarmingly charming and endearing.
Yes. Yes. Who would punch a disarmingly charming and endearing person? That would be the worst. Who would ever do that? Tragic.
Terrible.
Bring him down.
So I suppose spend one of your fate points and one of the group fate points. And
Yes,
There's not a ton of Germans here, so he's the he's the one who's looking for me.
I am here to make my mark, and there it goes.
And this also makes you look really just.
so
And also, bonus, this actually helps the entire team because all eyes are on.
yes, it does. Yes, it does. So as a group, you only have 1 group fate point left.
Yeah.
Lindy has a fate point.
I do.
KP, you do not, but you take him out. I would like to ask you how you do it. He must leave this scene. He's out. I want, and you get to decide how that happens.
I look at Jean,
who's up there looking mortified. He's like, and he's also a bit confused about what's going on because he doesn't know this guy.
Yeah.
Nobody knows
he
this
goes,
guy.
He goes, John, as a friend, I would like to ask you to have this man arrested.
And you see him, and like you notice the first thing he was going to say was, "Of course," but he sees a man in a German uniform, and he just looks over to the ambassador.
He's my next mark, the ambassador, because I got a guest list and he ain't, and this punk ain't on it.
Right, and the ambassador comes over, and you can tell Jean wants to do this, right? But he clearly has to get permission, right, from the Germans. And so the ambassador comes over, is like, "What is going on?" And you see his wife coming in a little bit afterwards. Like, what is this? What is going on? And you can see him, the man, the colonel. He is not calming down. You know how some people would be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." No. He's just sort of in a rage. Like you can see him like his breath is like
There's
just
veins
And
popping.
still ignoring him.
and
He is an insect
and
in my eyes.
and he's so angry. And the ambassador.
Can I come over with that
Yes,
guest list as the
yes.
party planner comes up and be like, "Oh, Monsieur, this gentleman, this officer is causing quite a scene, and he is not on the guest list."
And then a man in an SS uniform walks up. A colonel. And he walks up and he goes, "What is going on here?" And he's got this, like, dead eyes.
And I stare at this man. My name is Prince
Preetam Singh of India. And this man here, unprovoked, unasked, without any indication or warning, punched me in my face. I have been assaulted. Not only am I the prince of of royal descent, but I'm also a notable doctor and a potential contributor to the French press due to my friend, Mr. Jean Locke here.
And Corinne starts... Jean Lucher.
Jean Lucher, yeah.
Corinne starts crying.
Who?
Corinne.
Yeah,
Corinne. She starts crying.
And he goes, I was brought here to assist after my commendable efforts in assisting the Nazi Party in their efforts against the British regime of my own free volition, because I felt deeply about what they stood for. And to have my honor degraded here publicly amongst my fellow members of the class, I will not stand for it, sir.
And then you see Lisette come up.
And I hand like a handkerchief for the blood. Still, like.
And Lisette comes and she goes, I have never been so insulted in my entire life in my own. And this man, who seems to be like the highest ranking person here, with this really menacing look, turns to this man who's sweating and red and says, your papers, please. And your husband is not used to that always.
No.
And he pulls out his papers. And this SS colonel looks. He says, you are not stationed here. What are you doing here? And then he just looks at you, Frieda. Goes, you have the guest list? Let me have it.
Oui, monsieur. Hands it over. He's not on the guest list.
You are not on the guest list. He hands the list back to you. And this man, this colonel, stops and he looks across the room to another man in a military uniform, an army uniform. There's very few people with army uniforms in this party. It's almost all SS and like 2 or 3 army people. And he just looks over at the army person just for one moment. And he goes, Colonel?
That guy's gonna get beat to a pulp later.
You're coming with me. I'm afraid you're not invited. We have questions for you at headquarters. Gestapo headquarters. And the colonel, the SS colonel, takes your husband and starts to move him away. And your husband?
Oh no.
Well.
Oh, what a great pause in music.
Yeah. Your husband is going to not behave well because he has... Well, actually, you know what? That would be a compel on your part. If you would like to compel his anger management issue aspect, you can spend a fate point to compel it. Because just as I can compel your aspects, you can compel mine.
This is true.
Mm-hmm.
Being his wife, would I be aware of any of his other aspects concerning moi? Would there happen to be like a possessive of Frieda aspect?
Mm-hmm. Yes, he has a lot of great aspects.
I think he's so mad right now that he loses his cool. Because Frieda is supposed, in his mind, Frieda is supposed to appear at this party.
He can't leave.
He can't leave, so he's going to cause a scene. But I think he's going to cause a scene and give away his motive for being here. Just looking for his wife, Frieda.
I will take
so that way,
fate point.
Word's out that she's not in Berlin. He's looking for her.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's terrible for him. I'll take the fate point. Would you like it to be yours, or the group's?
Let's say the group's.
I'm gonna just take that fate point then. And so.
But you know what? We'll say my fate point.
All right.
Let's just my fate point.
Okay.
Because that also sets up a beautiful rescue for the poor kidnapped Frieda at a later date.
Yeah, that's what that is. And so, as this SS colonel grabs him and starts moving him, you know, in a reasonable way, for that compel, he pushes this SS colonel back. And he says, "How dare you put your hands on me? I'm a colonel in the German army. I'm here to find my wife. I know she's lurking here. She's run away, but I will get her. She's here. Someone here is hiding my wife." And that's when you hear it. It's a very subtle sound. It's the sound of guns. And you notice...
We both made the exact same gasp noise. I will let you know. I was just muted.
There are guards. The minute anybody put a hand on this colonel, this SS colonel...
Oh, yeah.
These guards, you didn't realize there were that many guards in this place, but there are. And they just sort of quickly move. And Colonel Otto Voigt, your husband, it gets through to him that there are many people with guns near him.
Yeah, that's something he understands is force.
He understands force, overwhelming force. And for a moment, his face goes white.
At that point, the prince turns to this SS officer and goes, "With all due respect, officer, I believe I had mentioned, or I had requested him be arrested, and I never mentioned escorting him politely off the premise. This man has offended my honor and the honor of my kingdom, and the honor as a future friend and partner of the Nazi regime. He clearly came here uninvited. He clearly has trespassed on this property and has insulted every guest at this esteemed location. He has sullied the name of the Nazi party. And if that does not send him to the brig, I honestly do not know what it takes for the Nazis to quite, what's the word I'm looking for? Honestly, I didn't know that you were such pushovers."
The man, this colonel, smiles at you. And he says...
Can I just say this cookie has never tasted more delicious, by the way.
And he looks at you and says, "Your Highness, you have not met me before. I'm Colonel Helmut Knochen. I'm in charge of the entire SS here in France. Please rest assured, this insult to you, an ally, will not go unpunished." And the other army guy, who does not know this man at all, because this other army guy is like from here, has come closer to hear what's going on.
But he's not getting involved.
He is not getting involved.
He's smart.
And Knochen says, looking at you, but you do not think he's talking to you. He says, "We here in the SS, it is our job to root out any traitors within the Reich. Anyone who is not loyal, who might disrespect our allies or be working against the Führer. Anyone who is not loyal would have me to fear. And I want to thank you for pointing out this treason, this insult, because I will say this right now. Anyone who is an enemy of the Reich, who betrays the Reich, or embarrasses the Reich, will have some time with me. And they will not like it." And then he just looks over at the army guy.
Colonel for Colonel.
Not Otto Voigt, but the army guy from here. And he just looks at this Otto. And he goes, "You.
At this Colonel.
You're going to come with me." And he just walks right up to Otto Voigt, the husband. And he gets this close.
Oh, Otto's favorite tactic.
And his eyes are dead. And it's not directed at you. Not directed at you. But I'm going to just make this provoke attack right now. Because, yeah. And, yeah. So, he just walks right up to your husband. Your current husband, at least. Mm-hmm. And he says, I don't know if you've heard of me. They call me Dr. Bones. It will be a pleasure to have you in my office.
Well, what a coincidence. I'm a doctor. No, I'm kidding.
And just sweat starts coming off, and these guards seize him, and they start pulling him away, and Frieda, I think this might be the first time you've ever seen this look in his face. It's fear.
What?
As your husband is dragged out of this party. And it's quiet. I need an awareness roll from both of you.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, this.
Oh. Superb.
Oh, not bad. Okay.
Okay.
Super.
You don't hear it, and it's that superb that does it for you, because this was a very hard check.
Oh.
It is loud. There is pandemonium. I mean, it's that weird thing where everybody's like fairly ordered because they're very orderly. But there's like a lot of commotion, and everybody's got their focus here. Everybody's paying attention. It's all eyes at this moment. You think you heard a gunshot outside.
Outside, like from the front entrance or further inside? Because this is a chateau, so I imagine there's like courtyard,
out
like maybe
back.
a greenhouse even out back. So
You-
like where she would know that because she probably pulled all the deliveries through the back and with the staff entrances and stuff. Okay.
You think so. You think, like, you might not have.
Okay.
But it sounded like a gunshot, and it was like just you're like close enough to the back of the kitchen, but you don't think anybody heard it because everybody was not paying attention at all. But you think you
Yeah,
heard.
because all eyes were on.
Yeah, all eyes were
That
on
scene.
Otto. That whole scene. And as this is happening, as you're thinking, was that a gunshot that I heard? You have people swarming you. Preetam, people are like, I'm so sorry. And like there's like a whole sort of like clearly they are embarrassed. They are mortified. And the SS guy who leaves because he has some things to do. That
Yeah, I bet.
he has some things to do that will be pleasant for him, just not for Otto.
Otto. If he's still in jail by the time I'm rescued from being kidnapped, Frieda's already thinking ahead. She's like, he's still arrested by the time I'm freed. Then we can go get him out of jail, and then he'll just, wouldn't that be lovely?
And so people are crowding you.
And get caught again.
Yeah, as you just have that weird notion that you really thought you heard a gunshot, Freedom, out back.
Uh-huh. She would very quickly get that non-dropped glass of beverage for Preetam and
Kareem
just
faints.
how tragic. And just like as she hands the glass over, like does like a little duke that would only, Preetam could see, like and then like eyes towards the back, like I heard a gunshot. She doesn't know the SS code, but she hopes that's visible enough. And then she would go check on the staff. Make sure everything's running smoothly.
She gives you a danger look, and then she heads out back.
Okay. Ooh.
Here you are, Your Majesty.
Oh, why, thank you. And then he kind of just... So I'm assuming he catches Frieda's look, right? Ooh, okay. At this point, he turns to the rest of the crowd and he goes, "No, it's fine. Thank you. Please, I do apologize for causing a ruckus. I did not mean to disturb this esteemed party tonight and cause any strife for you wonderful people. Unfortunately, that I feel a little tired now. And I hope you understand that this may be the time that I must step away.
And everyone,
bit of fresh air.
And Lakshmi's like, do you need anything? And she just sort of like makes sure there's no blood on your lip.
Preetam's heart just skipped a beat. And he goes, thank you, and kind of just like gently like holds her hand and kind of just looks at her a little softly, and he goes, no, I think I just need some fresh air, perhaps a little bit of night's rest. I'm still tired from my journey, and I think it's just calling it a night.
She's well.
Be prudent.
I hope that you would call me. I imagine we have lunch, perhaps.
Well, I would love that. But for tonight, I bid you adieu, madame. Monsieur, madames, thank you for this lovely evening and for inviting me here. And turns to Jean and goes, thank you so much for the lovely company and for introducing me to so many wonderful people, Mr. Locher.
And he's sort of like, he almost wants to follow you, but he's like, just to know that this was clearly not, this was not a guest. And like,
how can I fault an entire group of people for the actions of an individual? No, I'm not so petty.
No, of course. And he's clearly unhinged. And like, he's trying to make excuses as you're like sort of walking out to get air. And like, he only follows you a couple of steps as soon as he kind of gets the sense that, okay, nothing is ruined, right? Like, okay, we haven't lost the prince. And the minute you're like clearly leaving and he's got that sense that like, it's okay, he turns on his heel and he's looking to see who he can like, he goes to the party planner. He's like, how did this person get in here? What was that? Like, there is upset. Like, you are one of their esteemed guests and you just got punched, which is like,
Yeah, I would have mentioned to the party planner who he was the +1 of.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
And in his mind, Preetham's in his mind, he goes, I just was a goddamn badass. Like, he just was like, I did my, like, this was his first mission as an SOE. And he, in his mind, he played it off amazingly. Or hopefully, he's hoping.
Yes.
He played it off amazingly. But he goes out and immediately, like, he kind of takes a couple steps outside. He kind of like looks behind him to make sure no one is observing him anymore or following him. And does he see Frieda at all nearby?
Yeah, Frieda should have been ahead of you, so you probably see her up ahead.
I just didn't know, like,
so we're not leaving together.
Yeah, exactly. So he kind of just like subtly follows behind her because he noticed something had happened. And okay. And he kind of just I'm assuming they know like hand signs, SOE hand signs.
Because you are the switchboard operator.
Frieda has no idea.
Exactly. Oh, she doesn't.
Like, so,
he like does a couple signs.
Yeah.
And like she kind of just observes her. And he kind of just does this for a second. And he goes, okay. And basically all he was doing is asking, do you want me to make it a distraction again so you can do what you got to do?
I heard a gunshot. What do I do? I'm not an agent.
What do you want from me?
Training. I lived with the drummer for a month and now I'm a florist. I don't know what I'm doing here.
And
she's like, you're the agent. I don't know.
Oh no. He just like takes a breath and he kind of does this and immediately turns around and then walks back into the party. And he walks in and I'm assuming he still sees Jean nearby. He goes, and then he goes,
oh, Your Highness.
I took a walk outside and I realized it would not be, prudent of me to ruin the mood of this party because of this incident. And I felt that I can't let such a small, insignificant thing get in the way of meeting such amazing people. And having the joy of your company further. So, if you don't mind, and if you would have me for the rest of this evening, I would love to be back here with you all.
And you see relief go over his face, right? You just see relief go over his face as if, okay, we didn't lose him. Okay. And then he's like, why don't you might like a dance? And he's like, and he looks at me, he's like, and he goes to his daughter, Corinne, you should dance with the prince. And she's like, oh. And she's like, you can see she was trying to find like where Oscar was, right? And so she will dance with you. Frieda, what do you do? You're out in the back by the hedge maze.
You creep about unsuspiciously. No, it's totally suspicious because, I mean, what's she doing out here? Maybe look for blood splatters. She doesn't know what she's doing, but she heard a gunshot, and she would hate for that to be Oscar or Regina who got shot.
Could be, because you haven't seen Regina.
I haven't seen them in a while, yeah.
You've only seen Oscar. You've not seen anybody else.
Yeah, so it could be Regina who got shot, and that'd be really bad. So, and she's already been shot once. She's already seen Regina get shot once. It's not ideal. So yeah, just
this will be a discover action, and I believe that'll be awareness.
Awareness. Mm-hmm. Okay. Sure.
Yep. If I remember correctly, there's only one fate point left. Ooh, good enough.
That's good.
You can ask me one question. You are out in the cold. There's snow on the ground. There's a hedge maze right over there. It's dark.
I imagine, because she heard the shot from inside, but now that she's outside, maybe she has a better sense of direction.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, I could ask. So I'm kind of torn between two things. I could ask, where do I think the gunshot came from? Or if there's anything out of place in these buildings outside. Because I imagine there's buildings outside beside the hedge maze.
Yeah, there's some old carriage houses, so like servants' quarters, as it were. But there's basically some storage and all that. Yeah.
This is a question she would probably know the answer to start with, which will help me inform my next decision. Would she know if anybody's going to or from any of these buildings?
They shouldn't be.
During the Pride. Okay. In that case, then, is anyone inside these buildings back here? Are there any lights on? Because there'd probably be people.
Because this is mostly everybody's in. However, you were looking about directions, yes?
Yes, directions of.
You do see footsteps.
Where people. Okay.
Going into the hedge maze, because it's snow.
Sets of footsteps.
It's hard to tell.
Hard to tell.
Yeah.
Okay. What size are they? Are they Frieda sized, or are they big?
The snow's pretty deep, so it's just you know what I mean, like the. They're not like. It's kind of deep, so you can't tell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then I think Frieda's gonna be done. She's gonna go into that hedge maze.
And you sneak in. Do you go quickly or slowly? Do you go stealthily or not stealthily?
I think she goes stealthily.
Roll stealth. Slow or fast?
How long ago was the gunshot?
It wasn't that long ago. It was enough time. It was like 5 or so minutes-ish.
Okay. She will go on the slower side so she can be aware if anyone's backtracking their way out of the maze. Fair. Not bad. Could be worse. Could be better.
You move slowly, following these tracks.
And
as
she's also less likely to miss things if she's moving slower.
And as you move in, at first, in that early point, it looked to you like it was maybe multiple footsteps, like it wasn't very clear. But as you get into the hedge maze, it looks like it's only one set of footprints, perhaps. It kind of went from like a little bit messy to then.
And there's no red in the snow?
No.
Okay, that's interesting.
And you go in further, slowly, taking your time. Thinking that you're pretty stealthy as Preetam is dancing with Corinne. And there's music and everyone's trying to get over this thing and Oscar's giving speeches. Everything seems better, but the party's probably winding down soon. And you make your way past a turn, another turn, and it's just one lone set of footsteps. Very large though, larger than, but just because it's like a, when you step into the snow, you know how it is. And you make your way one more turn, And then you see her. The blonde woman. On the ground, in the snow.
Uh-huh.
Holding a gun. And she's not moving.
Anybody else here?
Awareness?
Oh, 3, 2, 1.
You do not
Let's go.
see anyone, but that's a fail, so I get to ask you a question that somebody wants to know the answer to.
Oh, no.
Here's the question this person asks.
Mm-hmm.
Did that person who's working here, that's you, Frieda, did she see me? And the answer is no.
She did not.
And so the person's like, good. You do not get attacked.
Good.
Mm-hmm. Just wanted to make sure that you did not see whoever did it. Do you go closer to this woman?
I think she will. But she's going to... Because she's the organizer. And, well, she didn't see anybody here. This is a hedge maze. You might be able to hear somebody in the area.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why she's moving stealthily. So I think she's going to be like, not see the gun in the girl's hand at first and be like, oh, what are you doing? It's a hedge maze. We've been looking all over for you. We are short-staffed. You're just lying here on the... It's snowing. What are you doing? And then like approach like the scolding party organizer who's short-staffed because they are.
Can you roll will, please? Before you roll, I need to ask you a couple questions.
Okay.
Have you ever seen a dead body before?
Oh, I think yes, but not in a long time.
Have you ever seen a dead body?
I think her uncle showed her a dead body.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question about that.
Yeah.
As you walk forward to look at this woman who had a gun on her, that in the cold you can still see a slight smoke coming off of it.
Uh-huh.
She has been cut with a knife. Her neck has been sliced open.
She didn't die via gun wound.
She did not die via gun wound. And the blood you were wondering that you were looking for, it's here. It is
great. Fantastic.
All over the snow.
Almost like there was 2 people walking, and then like maybe one person was scooped up, and then like manhandled over.
Or one person stepped in the footsteps of another to disguise how many people were there.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen somebody cut to pieces like this?
I don't think she's seen that, because I think her uncle would have tried to shield her from that.
Please roll will.
Yeah. She's seen dead bodies, but not cut up dead bodies, I don't think.
This will be a 6 difficulty.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see how we do. Well, that's...
Take 4 stress.
Great. 4 stress.
Yep.
Okay, now, question, because I haven't taken any stress in this game yet. Do I check all 4 boxes?
Nope, just the number 4.
Or do I just check the 4 box?
Just the number 4 box.
Okay.
And you can hear her sputter. She's not dead yet, but she's almost dead because you were slow, you were deliberate. She's still breathing, but it won't take long. Do you even have time to get the doctor?
I was gonna say, does she think she has time to carry her to the doctor? Bring the doctor here?
Probably not.
Okay. Then I think it's going. If she doesn't think she has time to get the doctor, she's gonna try medic, which she has 0 in.
Do it.
To just buy enough time to get the doctor. Okay.
Roll medic. Yeah.
Okay, that's mediocre, which for having a 0 in the skill, it's not terrible. It could be worse.
As you move to come towards her, this
would
woman,
spending a fate point, the group fate point.
Yeah, you're not gonna get that number.
No.
She is like bleeding out.
She needs like a 5. She needs like a superb.
Yes, she
or something.
does. Yes, she does.
Yeah,
Hello,
so that was
Raiders.
not gonna happen from Frieda.
I'm gonna ask you this question.
Okay.
Do you want to get blood on you? Because she is bleeding a lot.
Yeah. Let's say...
If you want to help her, you're going to get blood on you.
Let's say sure. Because I have excuses.
I should have totally gone with her.
You might have been able to help. You try as she bleeds all over your hands. And you have her blood on you as she looks at you and she says one word.
And Frieda would, since she knows this girl's German, would be speaking to her in German.
And she says, revenge. Revenge.
Against who?
And then she dies.
I'm sorry. Oh, no, okay. Let's get, we can put pieces together afterwards, maybe.
You are in a hedge maze with a dead body of a woman who was cut a lot with some kind of knife.
Yep.
And
cool.
Her eyes go lifeless.
Well, if her uncle taught her anything, it was to always search the body afterwards. So pockets are gonna be checked. And also, Frieda will take that gun. Because this woman didn't die from a gun wound. It'd be weird if she had a gun on her. If she's an innocent serving girl who got stabbed to death in the hedge maze, that's a different story than if she had a gun on her. So I'll take the gun, wrap it up, stuff it up in the girdle. Because of course Frieda wears a girdle. I mean, come on, she's an opera singer. And then check pockets.
She has got...
And the bra, because ladies keep things in their bras and girdles. Just facts. Frieda knows where she would hide things.
She has got some fake ID, but it's not very good.
Okay, still could come in handy.
Right, but it's not very good. But in her bra, she has got a photograph.
I knew it.
It's a photograph of a young girl who's... blonde, who's probably 9 years old, 8 or 9 years old, with standing with who's probably her father, and they're standing in front of a bookstore. You would say you're from Berlin. Looks to you like a bookstore, probably like a small bookstore in Berlin, and like one of the kind of like the old neighborhood, the kind of the fun. Like the Kurfürstendamm, the entertainment neighborhood. It looks like you can't quite see the title, but it looks like a very small, maybe like a radical bookstore, communist bookstore. And he has got her on his shoulder and he's smiling as in front of this bookstore. Looks like the girl and her father.
Okay. Take
and
that too.
There's an invitation to the party.
Ooh.
It's not to her. She must have taken it.
Interesting. Who is the invitation to?
It's just an announcement of the party. It's not like to anyone specific.
Okay.
It's just an announcement there's a party welcoming in
Gotcha.
the new head of the Gestapo.
If that's everything on her.
Yep.
Frieda will stash the goods. Do what she can to wash her hands in the snow, because there's snow out here, troopers. Yep. Snow is water. Snow washes off real good. And then go back to the party. If she has a couple of flecks of blood on her dress, it's because the poor prince was punched right in front of her.
It's true. It's true. And I will ask you, as our evening is getting to this moment, our prince will probably leave, keeping everybody here. Do you say anything about the body?
She'll tell the prince later. There was a dead person. I couldn't save them. It was so terrible. Frieda's keeping her cool. She has a lot of exterior cool. I think. Ooh. How would it look if there was a body discovered at this party?
Cut up bad.
Yeah. versus how would it look if it wasn't discovered at
Regina
all?
and Oscar, it seems, have left the party. That is what
They've left the party. Okay. I was going to ask about them.
Mm-hmm.
I've planned a lot of parties. How would it look if there was a dead, cut up body found at one of my parties? It would look really bad?
Yeah. Well, but these are Nazis, so depends. Depends. You took the ID off of her, so...
I did. Because it was a bad fake ID. I mean, if Frieda could even tell if it was a bad fake ID. Okay, I guess one final question. Would it look bad on Lisette?
Could do.
It
It's
could.
her house.
Mm-hmm. If it would look bad on Lisette, I don't think she tells anyone but Lisette. So Lisette can decide, because she knows these people who have infiltrated her home the best. She will tell Lisette.
Lisette?
Terribly sorry to inform you, but I was briefly out in the hedge maze getting some air after that horrible affair with the prince, and there was a terrible scene. And just, inform her so that she can let the hostess decide, because she would know her party planner the best.
And she encourages you to leave. And yes, we're gonna wrap that party, and I think that
look, we are leaving.
And you, the prince, and you, Frieda, you leave this party with this body in the hedge maze.
Yep.
That Lisette will have to deal with in some way. We will see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
But as you make your way home, it's late at night.
I just would hate for it to reflect poorly on Lisette. So
she'll have to manage that.
Mm-hmm. But better than to be announced publicly and have her something publicly happen to her.
And as you all walk home, you make your way home. To end the evening, you hear the sounds of trucks. Lots of trucks. And then screaming.
Trucks.
As you see hundreds of German soldiers and French police rush by you and into people's homes. And they walk into these homes of people in a pretty good neighborhood with money, and they pull them out, and you can see them dragging these people out of their homes and throwing them into trucks. It's a roundup. And you, as you are walking through this madness, you see these soldiers. You know that right now at that party back in that chateau, people are drinking wine, eating food, celebrating the head of the new Gestapo and welcoming him and his wife. And in this moment, in Paris, people are being dragged out of their beds, put onto trucks, and taken somewhere. And each of you see it, and the soldiers don't even pay attention to you both. Not to you, the prince, not to you, a French woman walking home. But in some of the nicest houses, you see people being ripped out and taken away, crying. And then you see them taking their art and their goods and their jewelry, and anything they own as being of value is rounded up and put in other trucks. We will end this episode with me asking how each of your characters feel in this moment as you have left this party, separate spaces, and you see a roundup of citizens being taken by your German friends. KP, how does Preetam feel in this moment? There are too many people to do anything about this.
Honestly, I think he would feel confused, unsure what's going on, because he's just arrived here in the city, so he's not really too familiar with the entire situation. At least not, unless they briefed him. I'm not sure what he got briefed on about this.
But you've never seen this. This is, and these are not people. Some of these people are like in their 60s. These look to you. You're a person of both of you are a person of experiences. These are these look to you like upper class folks, like people who are respectable. This is not a bad neighborhood. This is city center. You're coming in and going to like where you have a pretty decent place, and these are respectable people of means and a reputation you can imagine just by what they're wearing and where their houses are, and they're just being dragged through the snow.
Oh man, I think I think part of it is he's just very shocked, confused, scared, absolutely terrified of what's happening here, but also knowing that he's a singular man in all of this, an outsider. He feels powerless, which is honestly the first for him, considering his background and where he's come from and the privileges that he's had in his life. He knows that if he did anything, that his cover will be blown, and it's not just him, but many more people will be affected because of this. Nations will be affected because of this. And as much as he hates what he sees in front of him, he has to turn the other way and walk on into the night.
And you do. Back to this new apartment of yours. Decent. Frieda, how do you feel?
I imagine, because she and Luke took the flower truck here, so I imagine Luke's driving because Frieda has no idea how to do that. She's never had to do that before.
And you're stuck. You're stuck behind these trucks, waiting, right? You're in this flower truck and you can't move as this convoy comes in.
She feels terrible because she has an idea about what this is about, because she's at least heard them talking, and she's seen paperwork and things, and she just saw that poor German girl all cut up in the hedge maze, and she doesn't know who did that, but she does know who was missing from the party. She'd recognized at least 3 people who were not present. So she's gonna have some questions for them, but also it's not necessarily a new feeling for her, because she feels helpless.
Yeah.
She feels useless.
Yeah.
Because she's only good at performing and singing, and that's all people view her as what's good for, and this is terrible. And she, seeing this and feeling terrible and useless, and remembering what Tango left for her to do, she, I think, even though she's a little stressed out, she gets some resolve to affect things, to at least disrupt the status quo a bit through whatever means she has at her disposal. Not something she'd ever thought she'd really see herself doing, but I think she commits a little bit to that right now. And since she's stuck behind all these trucks, she has some time to think about what she's going to do next. Because when you're fighting for survival and have to play cool, you're always thinking about the next step, the next multiple steps, the next leap ahead. So that's what she's going to be doing after she kind of gets over that initial feeling.
And somewhere in a very expensive hotel, Oscar and Regina are on there, looking out the window, seeing the same scene that you all are, having feelings of helplessness and anger. And that, in this moment, is where we're going to end our episode, with a purge and thinking, what are we going to do? As some young woman was murdered, we don't know by who, and barbarism behind the friendship is exposed as people are taken away. And that is the end of episode 12. We need a title, and as we take ourselves out with our heroes thinking what they will do to affect this situation, I want to say thank you to those who have donated tips and bits for our cast. Thank you so much. I would like to thank Rissa, who donated 600 bits for cooking Voight's goose, because I will tell you what, that's it's not going to be great for him. It's not going to be great for him at all, which will be interesting to see how that's going to develop. And also would like to thank Void Smoker, who's made some amazing fan art for us, who said, nobody throws a party like Trooper. Great job, everyone. So thank you. Oh, Blood Party, says Chromatic Chameleon. That is a great title. We have to go. And so I would like to do our closeouts, and I would like to start with KP. KP, if you could, I appreciate everything you did. I'll give you love later, but if you could say who you are, where we could find you next, like in 5 minutes, 6 minutes, and give some love. Give a love to your wonderful scene partner.
First and foremost, I am KP of KP11 Studios. Thank you all so much for joining us today. This was absolutely a blast. I'm a photographer. I'm a content creator. I enjoy telling stories. You can catch me here on this absolutely wonderful show doing historical content, historical plays, as well as on my Tuesday show called Void, which is a space opera style game with another fellow player of ours, Little Red Dot, who's our GM there, and she's absolutely wonderful. So if you're looking for some space related fun, you can check us out over there on Unmade Gaming's channel. Outside of that, if you just want to stay up to date on what I do, check out my Twitter. I also have a Patreon if you want to see a lot of the behind the scenes content for what I do, my photography or anything else. Check us out over there. We have a great community and we'd love to have you there. It's only $3, so there you go.
Thank you. Give some love. Love.
Yes, I'm sorry, so sorry. And oh my god, I don't think I can give enough love, because you were absolutely wonderful, Frieda. Seriously, holy crap. Like how you get into character so well that I can't. And I love Frieda's character, like who she is as a person and what she has to deal with and the strength she's displayed so far, especially considering being face to face with your abuser.
Yeah.
That the level of strength and mental fortitude that must take, I can't even begin to imagine. And the fact that, oh boy, man, I love that scene, and I'm looking forward to just seeing more how this partnership, this dynamic plays out in the future.
KP, you were so smart. I was like, oh, well, that's it for him. That's not going to be good for him at all. I was like, yep, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. I was like, yep, that's it. Yep, yep, that'll do it. Lindy, who are you? Where can we find you? And give some love.
So I'm Lindy. You can find me online at Laugh Love Lindy, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, etc. I play and GM a lot of tabletop RPGs. The next tabletop RPG you can see me playing is tomorrow night on my channel is our once a month campaign of Aliens, which, oh boy, I'm gonna say I don't think we're going to be fighting any aliens, because that's what we've been doing for the past too many episodes. I don't think our characters have gotten sleep in almost 3 days. We've been taking like never sleep pills. It's bad. But even worse, the army just came in. The US Space Marines just came in with like their fancy sergeant major, and they lost my character's retirement paperwork. She's so mad. Anyways, they're irate. Check that out, because it's going to be dramatic and just intense and deep, and probably some funny parts, but mostly dramatic. And then of course, just Twitter, follow me. I post about things, what I'm doing when. And then I will mention that Trooper and I have Romance of the Blue Rose finale on Sunday, because that's big news too. And then everything else, just follow me on Twitter for. Some love. I just loved how Otto is like, I need a witness to be a hero. And then our lovely Prince Doctor steps up and is like, you need a real hero in this room, and was not afraid to fuck some shit up. It was just a beautiful, glorious moment of, I am a prince, how dare that guy.
Dare you?
Because you just never acknowledged him, and that was just so beautiful. Freda has longed to see that for so long, and I think that Freda and the Doctor, I feel like they get along well, but I feel like once they both get like fully briefed on some things, and maybe a little bit of communications on codes and things go on, I think they'll be a much more effective team. But I can't wait to see what they
Maybe
do.
a little medical stuff too.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Frieda knows nothing about medical because she's been an opera singer and odd jobs.
Yeah.
No.
So yeah, cannot wait to see where it goes from here. And just a little bit of foreshadowing for what Freida's gonna, because I've talked with Trooper. I've got some plans for Frieda, and this is the moment. This is the turnaround moment where Freida's gonna
turnaround moment.
I'm excited.
Freida's like, oh no, I'm gonna mess up some stuff now. That's it. All right, we're gonna.
Okay.
So
yeah, I see how this is. I'm
in the resistance now. Like, we're not gonna be useless anymore.
Yep.
I am TrooperSJP. I've got like a minute. So I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you so much. I love this cast. I love this episode. I loved how they played well together. And I am really excited to see. I was excited to bring in a couple of really new historical things, which I'm really excited about. Some of these really sort of interesting tensions. And I'm really excited to see how it's going to play out. I want to find out more how things are to go. You can find me, what is today? Friday? Tomorrow, noon on my channel and playing The Outer Worlds. But at 6 p.m. tomorrow at Weave the Tale, I'll be GMing Tachyon Squadron, which is another Fate game. It's space fighters, like pew pew, Buck Rogers, all that goodness. That's over on Weave the Tale at 6 p.m. It's the first episode. You should go and see me there. Dot and I will be playing Divinity Original Sin at 11 o'clock on my channel. And Sunday night at 8 p.m., Romance of the Blue Rose with Lindy. And I'm playing a bird. But right now, we are going to see, there's a charity game that KP is in. Over on channel, the channel.
I should have totally promoted that. I'm so sorry. I didn't forget. I can't believe I forgot about promoting it, but I'm going to be jumping into another game right after this. So, yay, marathon. So
what's the channel? Can we raid you?
So it's going to be Mama Samu's channel, who is an absolute joy. She is my muse. She is the one who honestly put me on the social media map with our shoot where she was my jester that I did with her, and she's absolutely wonderful.
How do you spell Mama Samu?
MOMMASAMMU.
Oh wait, okay, wait. MO. I totally spelled it wrong.
Mama, kind of like
SAMU.
MMU. So 2 M's both sides. Mama Samu.
I didn't find it.
I typed it. You can just copy it from the Zoom chat.
Oh, thanks.
There you go.
Thank you. Thanks.
But we start at 7:30 actually, so I don't think they actually start. We just needed that 15 minutes.
Oh, you're on Pacific time.
Yeah. So everybody,
I forgot it's late.
Go to this channel and let's go and support. What's the charity for?
It's for stopping Asian hate. We are big proponents of stopping any form of racism or discrimination. I know the last one we did it against, we did it for the Black Lives Movement and to support our fellow Black brethren. And in this time, we want to support our Asian fam. And so this is all in support of that. So if you are able to, please go check us out. Please go ahead and check out the Tiltify link, that campaign we have going to support that. And we would be absolutely overjoyed to see you all there.
Please go and check out this channel. I'm going to, because remember, we put Japanese Americans in internment camps. We have a long history of really awful racism against Asian people in this country, and that has not ended. And being the way that one of the ways in which racism manifests against Asian people is that Asian people are made invisible, right? So they become invisible versus blackness, which is hypervisible, which means that oftentimes the hate crimes that Asian people deal with in the United States don't get talked about or reported on or thought about. And so going there to Mama Samu's channel and helping out and being part of it would be really great, because it's important. Especially just thinking about after the end of this episode, it's important for us to really do something to help to do something. And so
inaction and silence is the same as the other side. So
so with all of that, we're going to go to credits. I want to thank you so much for being here. You all have been wonderful. Next Friday, we're going to find out what our team does when they get back together and debrief. And I believe Frieda wants to take the doctor.
Frieda's going to steal the doctor. I was going to say, Frieda's going to steal the doctor.
Yeah.
She's going to ask very nicely.
She has plans for the doctor.
I do.
You have free reign because... Oh, man.
And oh my gosh. Okay. So thanks, everybody. And also, go hang out hang out in our Discord. We have a Discord. Rissa will put it in there. We chat about things, and maybe I can put some links to some of these really interesting people we talked about. And
coalesce theories in there.
Oh, yeah, lots of coalesce theories. And thank you, everybody. If you want, you can support our Patreon. But really, the most important thing is go over to Mama Sama's channel and watch the show. What are you playing?
So we're playing we're playing Honey Heist. Why am I playing?
Nice.
Yes. I'm a crickety old panda of a bear. And
you're a panda. That's the best one because you can eat anything that resembles bamboo.
Exactly.
The game can get really violent depending on who you're playing with.
Our game is super comedic. Mind you, my panda guy is a thief, and he makes the little cronk noises when he runs around pretending to be hiding, like the which is a lot of fun.
That's so different.
And he has
than
an
my
Australian
panda
accent, which I'm terrible at doing. So I will do my best terrible Australian accent.
Love it.
Beautiful.
Or a Cockney or whatever it's called. Something that is not mine. So yeah, exactly.
And with that, we're gonna go because I need to get this this noble fellow off to a stream. Thank you, everyone, and we will see you all next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.